And welcome to the Montgomery County Council's Tuesday, May 18th Council session. We will begin with several presentations this morning. The first is a proclamation recognizing Mental Health Awareness Month, something that is so important every year, but it's an opportunity that's even more important this year when the isolation, stress, medical illness, and financial hardship from this pandemic and its associated recession has caused an epidemic of anxiety, depression, and other diagnosed and undiagnosed mental health needs. We're all very grateful to our public health team for taking this opportunity to raise awareness. Council Vice President Albornoz.
Thank you, Mr. President. That was an important introduction. And as you noted, this month takes special meaning because of the unprecedented and extraordinary challenges that our community has faced this past year. I'm so proud to stand along with all of my colleagues who have been addressing this issue from multiple fronts. Through emergency appropriations to help support our organizations and Department of Health and Human Services who are on the front lines, through constituent services and calls that each of us have received from families and community members in crisis. And we have also been working diligently to address any policy barriers and to help ensure that funding goes to these organizations the most in need. The trauma and increased stress and anxiety and isolation and loneliness, the grief and loss that so many have experienced this last year truly is unprecedented. We've seen significant increases in calls to our help crisis line, and we are just now beginning to process and come into focus the challenges that all of our children and youth are going to face when they come back to schools. Our parents obviously have been under tremendous stress, and our most vulnerable communities have been even more impacted than usual. And joining us today is a group of really remarkable and joining us today are a group of really extraordinary and outstanding leaders, both from our county's Department of Health and Human Services, as well as members of the community and community leaders in this very important space. In a moment, we will hear from Dr. Kroll, but we also have with us this morning Dr. Rolando Santiago, who is the Division Chief for Behavioral Health and Crisis Services, as well as all the members of his leadership team, including Ms. Regina Morales, Dornay Hill, and Hardy Bennett. They have just been doing extraordinary work 7 days a week to establish so many important programs and services. We also are joined this morning by Luis Cardona, who leads our street outreach network and has done yeoman's work in engaging our youth during this difficult time. We also have from Linkages to Learning, Ms. Monica Martin, who leads the HHS Child and Adolescent and School and Community-Based Services, and Ms. Kirsten Anderson, also with Linkages. And from our incredible community-based organizations, we have Ann Mazur, the CEO of Every Mind. We also have in the audience Ms. Karishma Sheth, the Chief Program Officer, and we also are joined by Cornerstone Montgomery and Carrie Cho, the CEO. Both of those organizations have done really extraordinary work, and we also have from the Mary Center, Ms. Leah Chauval, the Care Coordinator Director, and Ms. Andrea Zawatowski, the Behavioral Health Director. Their innovation around telehealth and telemedicine within the Mary Center has truly been a lifeline for so many. We're also joined, it looks like this morning, by all of my colleagues who I know have been extraordinarily engaged and very much focused on all of these issues. I want to thank all of them for their extraordinary leadership. And those that are here on now, I'm going to ask each of them to make some brief comments. We want to stay on schedule this morning because we have a huge public health order that we want to cover, but I know everybody is very focused on these issues and want to make sure that everyone has the opportunity to say a few words. So with that, I'll start with folks as I see them on my screen, and so I'll start with you, Councilmember Friedson. And then after my colleagues speak briefly, we will hear from Dr. Raymond Kroll, and then Councilmember Rice and I will read the proclamation. But Councilmember Friedson.
Thank you so much, Council Vice President Albornoz, for all of your leadership as chair of the Health and Human Services Committee, and for all of our partners in the executive branch in Health and Human Services, and Most importantly, our partners in the community who are delivering services to residents. It's been an incredibly challenging year, and mental health is one of the major crises of this crisis. And I'm really proud of the work that this council has done, that our partners in the executive branch have done to try to step up to meet the needs of the crisis. We were working on mental health and expanding services prior to it, and we've stepped up to try to build from that, but we know there's a lot more work to do. I've been saying a lot to remember the airplane training for safety, that you're supposed to put your oxygen on first before you take care of your loved ones. And that's true of mental health too. We have to make sure we take care of our own mental health before we focus on taking care of others. And so a friendly reminder to all of our residents going through a challenging time to take care of yourself and to make sure that we're taking care of each other by taking care of ourselves. And thank you so much to all of our partners for all of the incredible work that you do, and particularly the volunteers who have stepped up in this time of need in our community. So thank you very much.
Thank you. Councilmember Rice.
Well, thank you very much, Mr. Chair, and I want to thank all of the advocates who've continued. You know, it's very interesting as I look back on the history of how Montgomery County has handled mental health and made it a priority. And I remember the foundation of Cornerstone and how Cornerstone came to be, and remember the two leading institutions that came together to form that. And the conversation around it was that we need to continue to unite ourselves together to really focus on what we see as that bigger picture, which is serving as many residents as possible and understanding that we needed to prepare for the continued challenges that we will see in the coming years. And lo and behold, we find ourselves, as you heard from Mr. Chair, aptly prepared for the future because we planned well ahead of time. When I think about Every Mind, and I think about Ann and the leadership there, when I think about Mary Center, when I think about all of the folks within HHS who continue each and every day to make sure that those are prioritized, and our great leader of Health and Human Services now, who has his behavioral health background, it is one where we are aptly positioned to be able to take on this pandemic head on. And so I really just want to thank each and every one of you, because truly you have saved lives. I've been throwing that phrase around for a couple days now, and it is true. There are many people who we know couldn't handle the challenges with the pandemic and reached out to your entities for help, and you talk them off of that ledge. You won't read about it in the paper, you won't see it on the news, but you know that it happened. And so each and every one of you and your organizations and your volunteers and your staff did yeoman's work in terms of helping us to get through the pandemic, because not only did we lose people to COVID, we also lost people to mental illness as well. And that's something that we need to always remember and keep prioritized so that we can ensure that we're lifting up those who might need a helping hand. So again, thank you very much for everything that you do, and I turn it back over to you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you. And just in order, we're going to go Councilmember Javando, then Councilmember Navarro, then Councilmember Katz, then Councilmember Reamer. And remember, we're Councilmember Javando.
I got my, I heard where I am. I got it. Good morning, everybody. And thank you and to all of my colleagues and to all of the folks that are here. You know, this has been a tough year. And mental health issues were an issue before, but as we've said, as we've dealt with this pandemic, it has impacted every single resident of our county, of our state, of our nation in some way. Whether you've lost a loved one, like I have, and so many others on this, even on this Zoom have, and you know somebody who's been impacted. You've had COVID yourself. You've lost a job. Your kids have struggled with the online Zoom format. Go down the list. Stress, anxiety. It's why 4 in 10 Americans report having some form of depression or anxiety over the last year. It's a dramatic increase, and millions of folks are living with this. And we already had a stigma on mental health. And to a point that was made earlier, we know that we're dealing with so much, and you want to help your family, you want to help your kids. I'll just speak for myself. I have neglected my mental health trying to help the community and help my children cope. And I'll just be honest about that. And it has come to a culmination point for all of us. And it's really important to stop in May because this is the theme of the month, and step back and be kind to our own minds. And as Councilman Friedson said, put our own mask on because it's going to have lasting effects physically, emotionally on all of us. And so I just want to thank you, all the groups that are assembled here, for all you do, and our HHS staff and their team and Dr. Kroll's team, for all you do to help our residents, because it's going to be needed now more than ever as we all work to recover out of what has been something no one alive has experienced, unless you're over 101 years old. And so we're going to need a rapid step up in what we do. And I know we are prepared. The foundation has been laid, as Councilmember Rice said. And I'm just proud to be part of a county where we take this seriously. And thank you to Vice President Alvarez and Chair Alvarez for his stewardship of the HHS committee. We're here for you. We're going to be here for the needs for our students, for our seniors, and everyone in between. And we have the great team to do it. So thank you, and thank you for all you do.
Thank you. Councilmember Navarro.
Thank you, Mr. Vice President, and thank you for highlighting this very important issue. There's always a silver lining, I think, and I hope that this experience has, finally has put forth mental health as an absolute priority. It is often said that when we talk about going to the doctor and taking care of our physical health, it is much more apparent because you can point to it, you can see it. With mental health, of course, it is a very difficult, in my opinion, issue to address because folks don't quite see it, except that it is so tied to our survival. And it is so critical, I think, also to reflect on the fact that 2020 really was the culmination of a sustained period of stress in terms of the national political divisive rhetoric, the renewed reckoning with, institutionalized racism. And then you had the pandemic, which came to really show everyone that our life is so very fragile. It continues to be a concern because it's an invisible virus. Now, let's just think about compounding all of those issues and the fact that it has been sustained for a long period of time. We are not equipped as human beings to have to deal with such a sustained level of stress and threat. And I think this is why it's so important that this team that is assembled here, that you are applauded and that you are supported, and that you also need to be heard. As elected officials, as policymakers, we need to hear from you what are the best practices in this space, especially for our county that is so diverse. The issue of cultural proficiency, the issue of linguistic capacity is front and center because we know the one size does not fit all. We might think that what we are funding and putting forward is the best possible approach, but I gotta tell you, right, because we all know this from personal experience, that unless you see yourself reflected in the kind of care, the kind of opportunities that you're participating in, it is not going to help you. As a matter of fact, I think sometimes it exacerbates the issue. And so that is why having these kinds of practices and service delivery models that really address all of these complex issues in a culturally proficient way, in an accessible way, is so important. So I am just very grateful to each and every one of you for everything that you are doing. And I will associate myself with my colleagues' comments about the fact that all of us are committed to making sure that you receive the resources, the support, and also the flexibility to be heard in terms of what it is that our residents need. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Councilmember Katz.
Thank you very much, Mr. Vice President, and thank you and the HHS committee for all that you're doing as well. We have heard time and time again that it takes a village to raise a child, but the real reality is that it takes a village to help a county, and that's exactly what is being done. For years, we decided it was something that society felt that if we didn't discuss mental health, that it wasn't a problem, that there were people that were embarrassed to talk about the mental health issues that they and their families were having. thank goodness that is not the case today. Today, people are working together and coming together to help each other, to help their neighbors, to help their family members come through these trying and difficult situations. And the way we can do that is by discussing it, by having people, professionals, actually work with other people. I was on the Cornerstone Montgomery board, proudly that I was on the Cornerstone Montgomery board, and I heard firsthand of the good, hard work that our nonprofits are doing. In many cases, they do it with, you wonder how how they are affording to do it, and we have to make certain that they receive the resources and the funding that is so very necessary. But I just want to publicly thank Dr. Kroll and Dr. Santiago and everyone else who's actually in the fields, Gary Cho and everyone else who's actually in the fields doing the work, because it is so very necessary. And I want to end by saying that we are most appreciative, and I know that the people actually in the fields doing the work never get enough thanks, but it is so very necessary for us to say to them, thank you for doing the good work and helping everyone else. Thank you, Mr. Vice President.
Thank you. Councilmember Reamer.
Thank you very much. It's so wonderful to see our partners on screen, and my colleagues have been so eloquent. I just want to add that we need to normalize the idea that mental health impacts are a consequence of the pandemic, and that it is okay if that's how you're experiencing the pandemic, and it's going to take some time to recover. And we need to do, I think, a really full job understanding those impacts in the community. I have a very strong concern that our teenagers are experiencing it in ways that we just don't know yet, frankly, because we haven't had adults around them, other than their parents to kind of help understand it. So we've got a lot to learn about what the pandemic the consequences are, and we've got to put in place a multi-year recovery strategy. And our partners here on this call are there. You're the front lines. You're the antennas to share back with us how you think it's going and what we need to be doing. And we're just grateful for your partnership. And as was said earlier, and we've said so many times, having these partnerships in place means that when you really need them, you're able to draw on them with so much greater impact. So thank you. Proud to support you, and we'll keep doing this together. Thank you.
So we're going to need a full council session on this soon, because I know everybody's extraordinarily engaged. And I also want to acknowledge Councilmember Glass, who's our lead on homeless and vulnerable populations, for his leadership as well, just rounding out the entire council team. We're also joined this morning by Ms. Dornay Hill. Dornay, thank you for your leadership. I've just so enjoyed working with you this last year in particular. And the setting up of the mobile crisis units has been extraordinary. And I know a lot of that heavy lifting has come from you. So thank you for that leadership. We'll now hear from Dr. Kroll, and then Councilmember Rice and I will read the proclamation.
So good morning to you all. Thank you, Council Vice President Alvarez and members of the council. It is very fitting and very deeply appreciated that you all have taken this moment to acknowledge that more than ever, our mental health matters in this county. In a typical year, 19% of adults will have an anxiety disorder. 39% of adolescents may have an anxiety disorder. 17.3 million adults in the United States will have had at least one major depressive episode, and 35% of those typically won't get any treatment for that. In 2018, and this is the last year we have data for this, suicide was the 10th leading cause of death overall in the United States and claimed 48,000 people. That's more than 2.5 times as many suicides as there were homicides that year. It is a significant challenge and remains a significant challenge, and we know that the numbers have been rising in recent years. All of that was before the pandemic began. That was before we ever had this virus that descended on us and threw our lives into chaos. Since the beginning of this pandemic, We've had 41% of the adults that were asked and interviewed in January reported some symptoms of anxiety and or depression. So those numbers have jumped, almost doubled. 13% of adults reported an increase in substance abuse due to coronavirus-related stress, and 11% of adults reported thoughts of suicide in the past 30 days. We know that our adolescents are equally struggling and stressed by this, and the fact that they've lost a lot of ground this year. A little closer to home, since the beginning of the pandemic, 15,000 people have visited our local emergency departments due to a mental health emergency. 9,000 or more have been transported to an emergency department because of drugs. And last month, we learned that in 2020, Montgomery County had a total of 108 overdose fatalities due to opioids. That's a 25% increase from where we were the year before. As people are isolated and shut down and cut off from their normal mechanisms of support and recovery and treatment, their risks go up, and we know that. So I won't belabor that anymore, but I wanted to set a context for what's been happening in the county and what you all are talking about today. You know, we are fortunate to have people and services who are dedicated to protecting and restoring our mental health in this county. Throughout this pandemic, the mental health services in Montgomery County have continued through telemental health, home and community-based services. Our peer recovery specialists in programs like STEER and Tree of Hope went online and created networks of providers to make sure that people who needed recovery could get access to residential and addictions treatment. Our local behavioral health authority expanded its effort on suicide prevention, bringing together behavioral health and somatic providers, consumers and community members, the school system and local hospitals to try to develop and improve suicide prevention approaches across the lifespan from birth to old age. Our crisis center has seen an increase in the number of folks that are calling in and coming in. The mobile crisis team increased its mobile crisis response by 37% this past year, just from July to December compared to last year. And with the support from council and under the direction of the county executive, we're expanding our mobile crisis capacity to meet the needs that we know are coming now. Mental health and drug courts and trauma services shifted to virtual work, and for the first time, we were able to secure virtual attendance at court proceedings for peace and protective orders in the county to protect our victims of domestic violence. And I have to say, and give a special nod to the volunteers who donated over almost 5,000 hours of service to victims of sexual assault and domestic violence by going to the hospitals and following them into courts to help being with them in courts is to keep them supported during this time. Linkages to Learning is a program that everybody knows the name of. And the therapists in Linkages to Learning shifted to telehealth in order to stay connected and change their focus to manage the increased mental health needs, as well as the grief and loss and the emotional effects of isolation and financial stress that families and our children were experiencing at home. They've stayed accessible, and their accessibility has saved lives during this time, especially as suicidal ideation began to rise across the county. The staff of Linkages to Learning taught children and caregivers how to navigate new technology to make sure that when the schools opened up virtually, the students were ready and able to participate, and the parents knew how to use that technology as well. Our systems have worked to maintain housing and food security and to help to connect people to the continuum of supports across this county that would not have otherwise been accessed. Therapy isn't the only thing that is therapeutic in this process. And I will not be able to mention all of the different parts of this and all the different people that played a role in promoting the mental health and securing the mental health of our community. Every mind on the call today: Cornerstone, our Collaboration Council, Family Services, JESSA, Mary Center, Fire and Rescue and MPD, and a lot of others that I don't have time to name today, but whose work has made a difference in the lives of Montgomery County. As we come out of this pandemic, and we are coming out of it, the effects are going to be with us for a while, but we know some things. COVID has challenged our mental health and well-being. It has hurt a lot of us. We've lost family and friends, and no one has been safe. Race or ethnicity, age, or economic status has not protected us, but it has not beaten us. This county has proved to be more resilient than we know, more resilient than we even suspected. And its residents and its service delivery and its providers, they have been there. We have an incredible group of volunteers and peers and mental health professionals is the other thing we know. And they have remained dedicated to promoting mental health to those who need our help. There is help available People need to know that and know that we are here and the system is strong for them. And thanks to the county and the county executive for recognizing that mental health is vital and for taking actions to help rebuild and strengthen the county's ability to provide that mental health service across the system. This has been a year of recognition, and the need for mental health has been vital. And the last thing we know is that we have each other in a community and in a county that cares for its residents, and that is probably our greatest asset and our greatest source of resiliency. So on behalf of HHS, the partners and providers on the screen today and not on the screen today, and the community, I want to thank you to County Executive Eldridge, to County Vice President Albornoz, and the County Council members for taking this time to recognize the work that they do. So I'll thank you and turn it back to you, Council Vice President Albornoz.
Thank you. Very, very well said, Dr. Kroll. All right, Councilmember Rice. Proclamation of the Montgomery County Council. Whereas May 2021 is recognized as National Mental Health Awareness Month, and in looking back to last March when the COVID-19 pandemic struck, we knew it would be a challenging time. However, we had no idea of the unprecedented demands that would be placed on our public health systems and the overwhelming mental health needs created by the crisis. And
whereas even before the pandemic, the prevalence of mental health conditions was on the rise. In 2019, nearly 52 million adults experienced some form of mental illness. Recent data from the Centers for Disease Control indicates that 1 in 4 adults is reported experiencing symptoms of an anxiety or depressive disorder in February, which is a significant increase from the prior year. And whereas
youth mental health is also worsening, with nearly 10% of America's youth reporting severe depression. Too many people of all ages with mental health needs believe they have nowhere to turn. Suicide is the 10th leading cause of death in the nation and the 2nd leading cause of death for our young people. And whereas
there is clear evidence that unfortunately the most vulnerable are feeling the mental health effects of the pandemic and are experiencing isolation, sickness, grief, food instability, job loss, and loss of routines. And
whereas in Montgomery County, we are aligned in our efforts to embrace telehealth, new emergency response systems, engage a diverse mental health care workforce, assure evidence-based standards of treatment and care, collaborate with our school system to meet the mental health needs of our students, achieve parity in payment for mental health and substance use coverage, and provide additional support by expanding access to peer support and community-based programs. Now, therefore, it be resolved that the County Council of Montgomery County, Maryland, hereby recognizes May 2021 as National Mental Health Awareness Month, and be it further resolved that the County Council calls upon our residents, government agencies, public and private institutions, schools, and businesses to ensure the well-being of our families and communities, now more than ever, to reduce the stigma that often prevents individuals from seeking help. Presented on this 18th day of May in the year 2021 and signed by myself and Council President Hucker. Thank you all for your leadership. And with that, I turn it back to you, Mr. Council President.
Thank you, Council Vice President, and thanks to all of you, of course, not just for highlighting the importance of mental health, but for all of your continued good work for our residents. Thank you so much. Next, we have a proclamation to commemorate the retirement, sad as it sounds, of our outstanding superintendent, Dr. Jack Smith. I'll call on ENC Chair Rice and the ENC committee in just a moment. I'd like to just say first, Dr. Smith, I'd like to express my sincerest gratitude and appreciation for your leadership and congratulate you on a well-deserved retirement too soon. I remember meeting with you shortly after you were appointed and having a great discussion about early education and mental health and renewable energy and many things that MCPS is still taking great strides on even this year during a very difficult time. You've consistently worked to ensure that no child's outcome is determined by their circumstances. We really owe you a tremendous debt of gratitude for your dedication to MCPS students and your leadership as a lifelong educator. I've experienced your dedication not only as council president, but as an MCPS parent. You've always taken the time to answer all my questions about the Title I school my children attend, but also all the individual schools that I've asked you about over the years. No question's ever been too small for you. You've accomplished so much while you've been with us at MCPS, the expanded career and technical education programs that you focused on, the international baccalaureate sites, equity concerns that you've addressed by improving workforce diversity and increasing the data transparency to track academic achievement and close the opportunity gap, and most recently guiding our school system through virtual learning through this incredibly difficult year. So from the bottom of my heart, please accept our great gratitude for all you've done for Montgomery County and our students. Chairman Rice.
Well, thank you very much, Council President, and you teed it up perfectly. Dr. Smith, you've heard me talk a lot about what you've done for the system. I'm going to take this one a little bit personal and just tell you what you've done for my family. As a parent, as a former product of Montgomery County Public Schools, I can't say that I haven't been more proud. During your tenure, I've had a daughter who's graduated and matriculated on to college. And let me just tell you how that experience has been. You know, she went through a year of COVID to where she didn't get to walk across the graduation stage. She didn't get to have a prom. Her last senior year was interrupted and was really in the wind in terms of what would happen with college, whether or not they'd be in person, whether or not they'd have it at all was the discussion. There was so much that was going on that just was uncertain. But the interesting thing is that as my wife and I pride ourselves on what we were able to instill in her, I have to give credit to the school system as well for establishing that resilience in our daughter, for making sure that she understood that she needed to continue to do what she could do in her control. And the rest was, up to folks who would have to make decisions, but understanding how the world works, understanding what it was that you could do and what your responsibility and what your role plays was tremendous. And it was instrumental in terms of where she is now, finishing up. She just finished her exams this past week. And is now taking some classes in summer school so that she will actually graduate 1 year early from college. Because of the AP classes that she was afforded, because of the great work that her teachers did in preparing her, my daughter's on a great track. And I don't say that to brag. I don't say that as the chair of the Education and Culture Committee and somehow we are gifted with something that no one else has. The reality is that when you said all means all, you made sure that that was there for everyone. And I know that my daughter and my wife, my family as a whole hate it when I talk about them. But the reality is that I couldn't be more proud. I couldn't be more proud to live in a county that has a tremendous school system like Montgomery County Public Schools. That afforded her so many opportunities as she now is about to start her internship at Lake Forest Animal Hospital and do some great work there over the summer as she goes to a career pathway to become a veterinarian. Dr. Smith, I thank you, sir. I thank you on behalf of my wife and my family for what you have done for my child, because I know that story isn't unique. We can go all across this county and talk to parents about the great things that MCPS meant for their children and how they were able to ensure that their futures were bright. Now I do know, as you and I have discussed, we still have more work to be done because not everyone still is experiencing that sort of result. But we have done so much to expand those opportunities. When I look at how many children have been able to take AP classes, and under your leadership and tenure has expanded exponentially in terms of those who are not only taking the AP classes, but also getting a score of a 3 or better. Those students who are scoring higher in reading and math at 3rd and 5th grade levels, all of that is under your leadership. You have certainly done no harm. In fact, sir, you have done us a great service. And so I really just want to say thank you on behalf of all of the parents of Montgomery County Public Schools for your dedicated support, for your leadership, for your vision, and for taking our school system to new heights. We truly are indebted to your service, and I wish you nothing but the best and success as you go on to your retirement and now take care of your family like you've taken care of ours. Thank you very much, and I'll turn it over to Councilmember Duwanda.
Thank you, Chairman Rice and Dr. Smith. Another bittersweet day here. I was reflecting on this last night that we have really a complete transformation happening in our education system and infrastructure here in the county at the same time, with your departure and also Dr. Pollard at Montgomery College. And I don't want to get teary saying this, but next year, my colleagues on the Education and Culture Committee, and Councilmember Rice and Navarro, and obviously there's always transition. And so we're at a really important inflection point over the next year or so. But I'm so happy that it's not, we're not freaking out because, to put a precise term on it, because you've laid the foundation. And to all the comments Councilmember Rice just said, in your tenure, you focused on every child. You focused on equity, you focused on inclusion, you focused on putting in the systemic changes in place that are going to lead to long-term prosperity and growth for every student. And that's not easy work. It's not quick work. It's something that is going to continue. But you've done it in a way in your decisions and how you've proceeded, and the leadership choices you've made. The fact that Dr. McKnight will step in ready to go. She's ready to go now. I've often said this, but I try to model what you do and how you display leadership with your staff. And you often step aside to allow others to step forward. And I think that's why we're going to be okay as you transition. It's going to be a loss, but we're going to be okay because you put a really good team in place. So thank you on behalf of all of our 160,000 plus students and their families. I count myself among them with my children. And I just really think that you've put us on a great path and wish you all the best as you transition to this next phase. So congratulations, thank you. And I hope you'll still return our calls when we have a question about something.
Councilmember Navarro.
Thank you, Chairman Rice. Dr. Smith, I have the distinction on this council to have served for 5 years on the Board of Education and had the also honor of being president 2 years in a row. And one of the things that I began to reflect on in terms of my experience on the Board of Education was how here in Montgomery County, we tend to hear the negative. What's not working, that is what you tend to hear almost every day. But then anytime we stepped out of Montgomery County, it was almost like a twilight zone, because the feedback that we would always receive in the observations was about how Montgomery County Public Schools always led the way in terms of best practices, and other jurisdictions would emulate those best practices. And so there's always been that interesting sort of bubble situation. And when I reflect on my time there, I remember getting into a point where I could predict which clusters would come to testify and ask, for example, for interpretation services or translation equipment. And by the time I left, so we're talking 2004, 2009, I could no longer predict that. And I say that as an anecdote of how the school system has absolutely shifted throughout the years, and how today we have a school system, the 14th largest in the nation, that is 73% children of color. We always talk about how our farms, when you look at our farms rate in total, is larger than the DC public schools component. Here's the thing though, it's also an extraordinarily high quality, high functioning school system. And it is not easy to step into the role that you stepped in, because the sort of perception and the stereotypes that exist out there is that, of course, when you have a very diverse school system, what's going to happen to the quality of education, as if excellence is somehow finite. And you have been able to lead this school system and demonstrate that excellence is not finite, that opening access to all students provides that very important opportunity for our wonderful, brilliant students to know that, yes, we expect you to learn. We have high expectations for you. And that if we provide the supports, they will always step up and they will always demonstrate that. You've led that, and you've done it in a very courageous fashion, but while also being very humble and willing to listen. And so a few things that I recall from your time here that I so much appreciated was your willingness to look at expanding dual language programs. When I came to you and said, you know, this notion of opening access to more people to become bilingual, right? For students to be bilingual, it's an asset model because ESOL students will see language as an asset, and children who want to learn the other language also see language as an asset, and therefore they can help each other and not then be stigmatized in ESOL thinking that somehow being bilingual, it's a deficit. And you said, yeah, let's give this a try, right? We looked at the waiting lines, the waiting list for our Spanish immersion program, for example, and realized that, you know what, the key is expand more dual language schools and programs. And you were right there. The BELL program, which was a very interesting collaboration and partnership. You know, you said, yeah, let's go ahead and do this, right? Let's jump on that. Let's do it. Whether it was, you know, the equity hubs, the way of shifting the perception of vocational education. So important to align it with the economic development opportunities of today, really shifting the narrative. That is so important. The breadth of just student supports and your willingness to say they have to also be, they need to be culturally appropriate, right? Because let's look at who we are. Let's look at the percentage of students who are students of color, and let's figure out a way to recognize that saying that we're colorblind is not the way to go. The talking about the melting pot is not the way to go. We're like a salad, right? We are together, but we maintain our individual flavors. That is not an easy thing to do while leading an organization of this size, while leading the 14th largest school system in the country. And so I take my hat off to you. I hope that, you know, as Councilmember Jawanda was saying, that we all learn lessons from you and how to be able to leave a legacy and how to lead with humility. It is often said that it's not what you say, but how you make people feel. And I know that when you came to Montgomery County, at least for me, you made me feel like you were somebody that was going to be accessible, that was willing to listen, but also was not afraid to take the difficult decisions. And that is exactly what you have proven. And so thank you for coming here and for leading the school system and for benefiting so many students and families. And I wish you all the best to you and your family. I think that you leave hopefully knowing that your time here has just built the stepping stone to take the system to the next level. And for that, I think we owe you greatly. Muchas gracias, Dr. Smith.
Thank you very much, Councilmember Navarro, and thank you to my colleagues from the Education and Culture Committee. We are now going to turn to our council colleagues who are no strangers to you, Dr. Smith. So let me start with Vice President Albornoz. And if we could ask for brief remarks so that I see the Council President is anxious to get us started. I know we have a big day today. So Vice President Albornoz.
I'm not rushing this event.
No, you know, the Education and Culture Committee did such a great job, and I made some comments from the dais last week. Just, Dr. Smith, thank you for your leadership, your partnership, your humility, your vision, and it's just been an honor working with you, sir, and congratulations in your retirement. Your family is the big winner in all of this, and we look forward to hopefully working with you in some different capacity in the future. Thanks so much.
Councilmember Friedson.
Yeah, thank you. I just wanted to add to the appreciation and gratitude for your service. I got to see you work at the state level when I was working in the comptroller's office, and the Board of Public Works was a part of my portfolio way back in the day when school construction went to the Board of Public Works, and got to see your your humility and your brand of leadership of really collaborating and utilizing the folks around you. And that's really built from here. And in this new role, I appreciate all of your continued service, your commitment to our children, and just really appreciate everything that you've done. And we're very happy for you and your ability to spend time with your family and take care of your family as you've been trying to take care of so many families in Montgomery County. So well deserved, and we wish you the best and hope you stay close and continue to call on us as we hope we can continue to call on you in your next stage of your life. Thanks.
Councilmember Glass.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chair. Dr. Smith, you're leaving at an interesting time, having gone through this last year, as we all have, and it was a year of crisis and struggle and also adaptation. And I think what you have been able to do over this last year with the entire MCPS team of stand-up policies and procedures and adaptations to our curricula, that will be one of your lasting legacies. And while we transition back into the classroom later this year, start of next year, those policies will remain and will continue to be adapted as technology and other societal needs require them. So thank you for that. Thank you for your dedication, and wish you safe travels and much love with your family up in Maine.
Councilmember Katz.
Thank you very much, Councilmember Rice. And the Education and Culture Committee certainly has done a wonderful job, and I don't want to repeat, but I've had the honor of knowing many superintendents over the years, and David Elserode, if anybody remembers that, his father was the superintendent of Montgomery County Public Schools way back when, and David and I graduated high school together. And so I've seen many. I always recall that Superintendent Jerry Wiest one night told me that, and in those days, I believe there was 140,000 students. We've grown substantially since, but it was 140,000 students and 20,000 employees. And he turned to me and he says, what are the chances of everybody having a good day the same day? And obviously it's none. And Dr. Smith, you have had, and you and your team have had to deal with that on a continual basis. You're dealing with the most precious people that we have, our students, our children. And so you've done a marvelous job. You've done an outstanding job during perhaps one of the most trying times in the history of Montgomery County Public Schools. A pandemic is certainly something that no one could have thought about and would have had those thoughts. But I am just so thankful that you were here. I am so very sorry that you were not going to be here, but I know you're being replaced by people who certainly will step up and do a magnificent job as well. But I am very, very proud to call you my friend, and I hope for you and your family the very, very best. Thank you very much for all that you have done.
Councilmember Reamer.
Thank you, Dr. Smith. Thank you, Mr. Rice. Our committee has done a marvelous job expressing our views, but for me, Dr. Smith, you have been a leader who has embodied two traits that I really think are so important. One is collaboration. You just have made it possible for people to work on ideas together while moving them forward towards a goal. And that's hard to do, but it was just so clear from the moment you took the helm that that was your approach, and I think you got great results. But not only have you been collaborative, but you've been decisive, and that's another difficult element to bring into that kind of mix where you're bringing people together at the same time you're getting things done and moving it forward. And I think the results have been marvelous. I want to thank you for initiating a acceleration and recovery plan. As you have worked through this difficult year. We really have a big job ahead of us. I hope you'll check back with us and keep tabs on how you think we're doing, and maybe even send us some suggestions about what what we might want to take a look at. But it's going to be a difficult, road the next couple of years, as I think the whole education sector has been so tested by this really awful pandemic. So thank you for having the organizational capacity to put into place, the measures that we put into place, and look forward to building on your work as we go forward. And just, again, personally, you're just such an easy person to work with. And I could have known, but I didn't know just how important that was until I saw it in you. And thank you for that very much.
Thank you very much to all of my council colleagues. Dr. Smith, we are about to turn it over to you in a second, but first we have to embarrass you one more time with the proclamation. So my education and culture colleagues, if you're ready and know your paragraphs, I'll start us off. Proclamation of the Montgomery County Council. Whereas Dr. Jack Smith has served as the superintendent of the Montgomery County Public Schools since 2016, when he brought his distinguished educational background, passion for equity and learning, and resolute focus on the expansion of access and opportunity for all students. And
whereas under his inclusive leadership, Dr. Smith ensured an equity lens was applied to all aspects of public education within the school system. With his commanding call to action, which we all know, all means all, that prioritizes that students have the academic, creative, problem-solving, and social-emotional skills in place to meet their full potential and to be successful in college, career, and community. And
whereas Dr. Smith's leadership drove the equity and achievement framework, providing a purpose, path, and plan for success that resulted in increased dual enrollment in college-level programs with students earning an associate degree simultaneously with the high school diploma, and expansion of bilingual programs with the accompanying promotion of the Maryland Seal of Biliteracy. And
whereas Dr. Smith continued to lead Montgomery County Public Schools through a worldwide pandemic that resulted in the unexpected closure of school buildings for more than a year, causing a quick shift in the creation of distance learning that required new curriculum, training, and logistical support for staff, students, and their families. Dr. Smith, with great personal sacrifice, supported our county with resilient grace, staunch leadership, and a deep caring concern for our students and their families. Now, therefore, be it resolved that the County Council of Montgomery County, Maryland hereby honors Dr. Jack, all means all Smith, and be it further resolved that the County Council shares our deepest gratitude for the valuable and long-lasting impact he has made on the students and residents of Montgomery County, Maryland, presented this 18th day in May of the year 2021, signed by myself, my colleagues, and our council president, Tom Hucker. Congratulations, Dr. Smith. And again, thank you. The floor is yours, sir.
So I really can't express how much your words touch me. It has been an absolute pleasure, and I mean that sincerely, to work with every one of you on many different things. I recognize every day, and when I get grumpy, I remind myself, few superintendents have what I have, which is a local government that deeply cares about students, their opportunities, their access, and their future contributions and benefits from this community. And I just, I'd hope to stay a couple more years. Family circumstances have shifted for all of us in different ways, but I will look at this county all the time, wish for everything to go really well. And I just got to repeat what Councilmember Navarro said. Our students have infinite talents, potential, possibility. They are amazing. And anybody who says otherwise must be refuted and said, stop. The students of 2021 are as great as the students of 2000, 1990, 1970, 1940. And actually it's better because we have better, more equitable opportunities for all students. We're not there yet, but we'll get there. And so please know that my affection for this community is immense, and my appreciation for you is just incredible. And I look across the landscape and see so many places where so many people fight. And when adults fight, Children never, ever benefit from that. And you guys are terrific. And I wish you each and every one all the best. And be safe and take care. And I'm very sad sitting here in my office today, knowing that this is coming to an end. But I'm also happy to be reunited with my wife, who's been doing the child care thing for the last year and a half in Maine. So all the best and take care. And I will always take a call from any of you. You have my phone number for any reason. So all the best. Thank you.
Well, thank you very much, Dr. Smith. And when we look back, we certainly, when we achieve that moment where it is everyone, we will certainly look back and acknowledge your great contribution to that success and why that happened. So thank you very much. To you, Mr. President, back to you. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Dr. Smith. All the best. It was very nice, colleagues. Now we're on to something much more mundane. We're recognizing Building Safety Month. Building Safety Month is a recognition of the importance that safe infrastructure plays, both in everyday life and in times of disaster, and a time to raise awareness about safe and resilient practices. We all depend on safe buildings where we live, learn, work, and play, and often take this protection for granted. Throughout the COVID-19 pandemic, countless individuals continued to ensure that building safety continued and had to quickly create and adapt to new protocols. So during this Building Safety Month, we should especially thank all those who keep our residents safe, our fire prevention officials, architects, engineers, and others in the construction industry, as well as many county departments who work tirelessly to ensure that Montgomery County residents are safe from preventable disasters. We have a number of speakers with us today, starting with Chief Goldstein.
All right. Well, thank you, Council President Hooker, and the opportunity to be a part of permitting services, housing and community affairs, and all of the county officials as we do just that, work to prevent the 911 call by improving and having safe dwelling units for our residents. Smoke alarms, carbon monoxide alarms are critical and core. Engineering components as it relates to safe exits, appropriate exits, not blocked exits, all play a part of that. And it is, as you said a few minutes ago, about how to help educate our children, and it taking the village and the entire community. It takes the entire county government to work together to enable that. So Fire Rescue appreciates the cooperation of all of our friends and partners in the executive branch and the legislative branch. Thank you.
Thanks, Chief. I was momentarily filibustering, but we've been joined by the County Executive. Mr. County Executive, the floor is yours.
I've actually been here through all those proclamations, and it was really interesting. And so I'll just say that, look, this is really important. We've done, had to do our jobs throughout this pandemic, and I really want to thank the folks in Permitting Services and Fire Rescue Service, the Transportation, and the Department of Housing and Community Affairs, who everybody stepped up to continue serving our community in the time of the pandemic. Navigating building projects through the pandemic has been challenging for our building professionals, and our county agencies have risen to that challenge. People have been, we've spent a year, 14, 15 months now, being afraid to go into buildings and being around other people. And yet our folks have had to do this work, sometimes in close quarters, because building safety is not something we can neglect. We've created new programs and innovative ways of doing things. We've managed the safe outdoor dining experience. Who knew that Montgomery County could pivot on a dime and figure out how to permit things in something less than 6 months or a year? That was, I think, a pretty impressive accomplishment. We're doing virtual inspections that have helped move the process forward. And we had policies for reopening a construction site closed by COVID. And we've created new plans for mitigating emergency situations. The DHCA code enforcement staff developed new protocols for interior inspections with IT system improvements. They were able to begin virtual inspections to continue to ensure that property maintenance standards are being achieved within the residential community, even in the midst of COVID. Many projects are being delayed because building product supply delays. DPS has been working with builders. And here's a comment that really impressed me from one of their customers. And they say, and I quote, "It was nice meeting with you for our inspection. I just wanted to let you know that I appreciate all the work you all working with us builders to keep jobs moving forward while material delays continue. Thank you." That's a nice statement from somebody who's trying to make sure that they can continue doing the work they need and keep their employees employed so that the effects of COVID are as minimized as we've been able to make them. So I want to just hope that we can make this the experience of every customer. This has been one of the big culture changes that Mitra has been bringing to that department, a customer-focused process, even in the midst of doing inspections and making sure that things are done right. There's more of a culture now of, if there's an issue, we're going to help you fix it. And I really want to let everybody know that how much I appreciate the work that they're doing in that department to change the way we do things. Finally, I'm excited to announce that DPS has signed a contract to replace their current online permitting system. This was one of the new director's signature action items, and I'll let her talk more about what this means for our residents and businesses in the future. But I just want to thank the entire team for everything they've done to support building safety and make sure our residents, the businesses, and the companies that build these projects can do this in a safe way moving forward and keep the public's interest in safety at the forefront of their thoughts. So thank you all for everything that you've been doing.
Thank you, Mr. County Executive. That's great news about the upgrade to the online permitting system and something we've been awaiting. So I should call on you next, Director Podun.
Good morning. Yeah, good morning. Can you hear me?
Yep.
Okay. Okay, good morning, and thank you very much for having me here and giving me the opportunity to express what is happening at DPS. Number one, I would like to mention that at DPS, we are committed to improving our customer service across the department. We have reorganized to create a new customer support division to ensure that our customers receive the excellent customer support. And as the county executive just mentioned, I'm delighted and extremely excited to announce that we are going to launch a much better and user-friendly new online permitting and licensing system in about a year. This is a very big step forward, creating a new DPS where we will be your project partners more than anything else. Now, also, I would like to thank all my staff at DPS for their hard work to keep our businesses and communities safe and being available during the pandemic. Thank you.
Thank you. Director Conklin.
Good morning. I'm going to talk a little bit about the programs that were implemented to allow activities to move out of buildings during the pandemic. I think it's an example of partnership in this county where we were able to work with the urban districts and the state highway administration to create spaces so that people could continue commerce and dining and other activities outside of buildings. I'm really proud of that initiative. I think it is a demonstration that when county agencies come together and find ways to make things happen instead of ways to keep things from happening, we really benefit our community. And as the county executive mentioned, this is an initiative that got off the ground in a very short period of time. And I really want to recognize the leadership that was demonstrated by Bethesda Urban Partnership, Silver Spring Urban District, Wheaton Urban District, City of Rockville, and others that all came together to develop ways to implement this safely and protect the people that were using these spaces from potential crashes, motor vehicle incursions, putting the right equipment in the right places so that these things could happen safely. And they've really been appreciated
by our communities and are still there and will be there through the summer. And it's a great place for us to get reacquainted with each other and support the businesses that struggled so much through the pandemic. So thank you for the opportunity to be part of this morning.
Thanks so much, Director Conklin. Mr. McHugh, DHCA.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Great work throughout this entire pandemic. I know that it's trouble for a lot of folks out there in the community trying to do the best they can. Property maintenance is a major component here in the county. Proud to be part of it, and just glad that we're meeting as well, and look forward to the new hybrid type of action process here. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, Mr. County Executive, I think you and I will now read the proclamation.
Sounds good.
Whereas Montgomery County, Maryland is committed to recognizing that our growth and strength depends on the safety and economic value of the homes, buildings, and infrastructure that serve our residents, both in everyday life and in times of disaster. And
whereas our confidence in the resilience of these buildings that make up our community is achieved through community guardians, including building safety and fire prevention officials, architects, engineers, builders, tradespeople, design professionals, laborers, plumbers, and others in the construction industry. Our guardians work year-round to ensure the safe construction of buildings. And
whereas these local guardians ensured that building safety continued during the COVID-19 pandemic by developing new protocols for construction sites, creating innovative programs and guidelines to help businesses stay open, such as the Department of Permitting Services tent and outdoor dining policies and the Department of Transportation's Streetery program. They also delivered uninterrupted services during all phases of the pandemic, including virtual and on-site inspections, plan reviews, and permit issuance. And
whereas recognizing that many other county departments, including permitting services, fire rescue services, housing and community affairs, and the Department of Transportation, all work together to ensure that the built environment continues to follow the life safety codes to create and implement the highest quality codes and to protect us in the buildings where we live, learn, work, and play. And
whereas the theme for Building Safety Month 2021, Prevent, Prepare, Protect, Building Codes Save, encourages all Americans to raise awareness about the importance of safe and resilient construction, fire prevention, disaster mitigation, energy conservation, water safety, training the next generation, and new technologies in the construction industry. Now, therefore, do we, Mark Elrich as County Executive and Tom Hucker as County Council President, do hereby proclaim May 2021 as Building Safety Month in Montgomery County. We encourage our residents to join in honoring our commitment to our building professionals and county departments that keep our communities safe. Signed today by the County Executive and myself. Congratulations, everyone, and thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. We'll see you soon.
Undoubtedly.
Okay, colleagues, now we can have general business. Madam Clerk, can you please share our announcements, agenda changes, or petitions? Madam Clerk?
I think I was muted. Sorry, good morning.
No worries, good morning.
Okay, Council has an addendum under general business, added action, approval of minutes. There are no minutes for approval this week. On the consent calendar, added 5Q, introduction, special appropriation to the FY21 operating budget, Montgomery County Government, Department of Health and Human Services, Asian American Health Initiative COVID response, $250,000, source of funds, general fund reserves, and amendment to the FY21 operating budget for Montgomery County Government, Resolution 19-472, Section G, designation of entities for non-competitive contract award status, Primary Care Coalition, Public hearing action is scheduled for May 20th, 2021 at 10:30 a.m. Legislative session, day number 12, introduction of bills under 10B, Bill of 2021, Bill 20-21, swimming pools, lifeguard requirement amendments. Introduction is rescheduled for May 27th, 2021. The council also has received a petition from residents of Montgomery County opposing the county executive's proposed $64.7 million property hike. That is all, Mr. President.
Thank you so much, Madam Clerk. Now we can move on to sit as the Board of Health. Dr. Gales and Dr. Stoddard, are we ready to begin?
Good morning. I am here. I see Dr. Stoddard there as well.
Good morning to both of you. Thanks as usual for all your hard work. The floor is yours.
Good morning, everybody. Fortunately, the updates will be brief this morning as we have made tremendous progress. And I would like to take a point of privilege to echo all of the sentiments echoed in all of the proclamations, particularly related to mental health and the need for us to make sure that we have resources in place to continue to address where we were before COVID, because we knew there was a shortage of resources, and certainly to help us get through the rest of COVID and tackle that issue as we move forward. And the second issue is to also just express my thanks for working with Dr. Smith during my tenure here in Montgomery County. I am happy to say I had an opportunity to work closely with him and his staff before COVID and get a chance to know them and their team, and certainly working with them throughout the COVID response, and how committed they are to their students and the residents of the county. And so I know he may have gone off, but thank you for your friendship and your collegiality and partnership during that time. Now to pivot, let's see if I can do this here. I'm going to attempt to share my screen again and F11 like we did last time. So I just want to go over a couple of things here in terms of where we stand in terms of updates. Community transmission levels continue to be in a good place. We had 26 cases reported yesterday. Our transmission rate, our test positivity is actually at 1.37%, and our case rate is 3.5. And you can see that is in the low risk of transmission category. As noted yesterday in the memo that was sent to you all, we now have achieved what we believe to be over 60% of our residents receiving at least one dose. Now, for the folks watching at home, they may say, well, why does it say 59% and that's not 60%? Well, if you look to the right of that, we have talked about how we're using the CDC estimate of our fully vaccinated folks. The difference is that the CDC estimate takes into consideration residents who may have been vaccinated in other areas. For example, we know that we did have a good portion of our residents, at least early on through occupational vaccine opportunities, be vaccinated in other places such as the District of Columbia and Northern Virginia. And so looking at that number, which we did hit 50% based upon that estimate on this past Friday, and looking at how close we were to the 60% threshold, we felt confident that we have at least 60% of our residents having received one dose. And as I mentioned, we have also achieved 50% of our residents receiving both doses or a single Johnson & Johnson dose as of last Friday. Now, to remind folks again, to be fully vaccinated, that means one is 2 weeks out from receiving that single Johnson & Johnson dose or both doses of either the Pfizer or Moderna dose. And we would hit that goal on May 28th, the Friday before Memorial Day. The other thing that I want to pull out and highlight is if you look at the percentage of our residents who are 17 and up, this doesn't include our 12 to 15-year-olds who we know were made eligible for the Pfizer vaccine on last Wednesday. We as a county apparatus began providing doses to that population on last Thursday. And between Thursday and yesterday's clinics, Thursday and Monday, we have provided vaccines to 9,474 12 to 15-year-olds. And again, that's just from the county clinics. We don't yet have a full calculation of all of those who may have been vaccinated in other pockets throughout the community, whether private providers or through pharmacies and other places, but we're working on that number. We will be partnering with a MCPS to have a vaccine clinic at Argyle Middle School on tomorrow, and we are partnering with one of the non-public schools, Stone Ridge School, on today to have a vaccine clinic as well. Throughout both of those clinics, we hope to be able to provide vaccines to roughly 2,000 young folks who fit that age category. Now, I also want to highlight one of the issues that has come up. Someone has we've received some emails related to young people being able to get vaccinated without parents being present. I want to make sure folks understand is that in those situations, children still have to have consent offered by their parents. And so consent must be completed in order for them to move forward, as well as age attestation. Moving forward, just again, a couple of other markers to show how we're shrinking the gap by race and ethnicity, and we've seen continued improvement of that over time. And when we can start to see how we are continuing to see a little bit of a drop, as plateaued a little bit over the last week in terms of individuals coming in for first doses, and still making good for those who have come in for their first dose, still getting 95 to 96% of those folks coming in for their second dose. And we think this plateau is because, again, we've seen this influx of new people, being 12 to 15-year-olds, being eligible, being able to stave off some of the decline in interest. And that bears out when you look at the volume by age. In the last week, we see probably over, I'd say maybe 40% of our folks coming in for first doses being those young people between the ages of 12 to 15. We do have to continue to follow up. We had discussed providing some more insights to you all related to the specific zip codes. That analysis continues because at this point we are seeing some pockets of zip codes have really great saturation of being vaccinated, and other areas, as evidenced by looking at some of the red zones, still don't have as much uptake of at least one dose in comparison to others. So please stay tuned on that as we continue to work through that analysis to understand if there are any particular trends or phenomena that are happening within those respective zip codes that can be addressed to help increase the percentage of residents who are vaccinated. And then this just breaks down again, showing you where folks are getting their vaccine doses. And it's important to highlight again, when we look at the source for those who are 12 to 15 or under 16, the majority, approximately 70%, 69% of those folks are getting their vaccine through the county apparatus clinics. We do hope that as private providers get access to the vaccine, that number will grow and more folks will be able to have opportunities to get vaccinated and covered within that space. Again, this just shows you where we stand in terms of the number of doses that we have received overall and how we're putting those doses out. And again, when looking at our equity framework, this pretty much, unfortunately, has stayed the same in terms of those zip codes that have been hit the hardest based upon COVID community transmission levels and case rates. All right. And just one couple things to highlight at the conclusion of that is that we did provide guidance related to how to move forward. And I know you all are considering the Board of Health resolution today in the face of all of the things that have changed since we met last Tuesday. It is an evolving, you wake up each morning and there's something new. But I would like to clarify a couple of things and why we put forward the guidance, particularly around face coverings. We know that We know that even though we are obviously excited to be at a point where we can say 60% of our residents have received at least one dose of the vaccine and 50% have been fully vaccinated or moving in that area, that still underscores that we have a lot of folks in our county who have yet to be vaccinated and yet to receive a dose. And when we're talking about 40% of residents not receiving at least one dose, that's 400,000 people. That's a lot of folks. And so we still have a lot of work to do to make sure that we extend opportunities to any individual who is interested in getting a vaccine. We continue to provide education and outreach to any individuals who have questions or hesitance about receiving a vaccine, because it's important to get as many people protected as possible so that we can drive our community transmission levels even down further from where we are right now, so that we don't have to be dealing with or potentially looking at an influx of cases later on in the summer or in the fall as we continue to open up provisions and increase capacity and open up society. Now that gets to the second point in terms of face coverings. Why do we still recommend that folks wear face coverings, particularly for those who are unvaccinated? Again, we want to cut down transmission as much as possible. We know that face coverings are an effective tool in doing that. And certainly if you've not been vaccinated, you still are at a higher risk of contracting COVID and being able to transmit it to other people within your network and within society. And so we have continued to support the notion, particularly in indoor spaces, that unvaccinated people should still wear face coverings. And we know that many other people, even those who are fully vaccinated, will choose to do so as well. And they should be supported in that and not shamed if they decide to do so. Now, I know that the state also has put out some clarifying language based upon the CDC's announcement on Friday, and that includes wearing still a requirement of face coverings in certain settings, regardless of your vaccine status, including health type facilities, as well as school settings. And there are a couple of other places as well that they still are supporting the idea of requiring face coverings regardless of your vaccine status. So I just wanted to put that out there and let folks at home know that, yes, this is all confusing because these things are happening very quickly, but we are working to make sure that we continue to have the guidance in place to keep you and your family safe as we continue to move forward and open up more things throughout our county. I will stop there, but happy to answer any questions that you all may have. Thank you.
I have just a few updates to provide in addition to what Dr. Gale said. So we've actually been working with an external behavioral health scientist who's been working with both the county's communication network as well as the individual minority health initiatives to develop messaging targeting those who have so far not come out and gotten vaccinated, providing messaging expertise and some feedback on what kinds of potential incentive programs might be utilized for those various different individuals as well. One of the key messages is that depending on the individual and depending on their sort of the basis for their so far unwillingness to get vaccinated, and obviously many of those are still access issues, not all cases that is it the quote unquote hesitancy we've talked about. But one of the key things that we've learned is that both the incentives and the messaging have to vary by the individual. And obviously we're taking a hard look at what those kinds of both incentives and messages should be in various populations. But even for people within populations, what message is going to most serve the interest of getting that person to come in and get vaccinated as we bring the vaccine closer to them. I did want to provide my support for what Dr. Gale said. The governor mentioned this as well. As we move into this environment where we're going to have people with face coverings on and some without, please do practice a level of kindness with one another. Some people are going to be comfortable removing their face coverings when vaccinated. Some people are going to be uncomfortable removing their face masks, even though they're vaccinated at this point. The goal is for us to, sort of demonstrate that we can be successful with the transition to the CDC guidelines. We just understand that, there's going to be some people who have trepidation about this and they're still going to want to wear the face coverings, which they're totally permitted to do. I think, as Dr. Fauci previously said, we may have some people who want to wear them more regularly in the winter now because of what we saw happen with flu this year and the level that it protected us. And so I know many, particularly in Asia, many communities do have it as a more routine part of their societies that people can wear face coverings, not required to. I think that's where we want to go. But obviously, we should be comfortable with the fact that some people are not going to be ready to move beyond face coverings in the short term, and therefore we should be comfortable, with one another and not be disrespectful and accusatory. So I think, obviously we're making tremendous progress, more than 18,000 doses of vaccine over the weekend, including first and second doses. I do want to provide a special thank you, and we don't often do this as much as we probably should, to the vaccination teams that worked extra hours over the weekend, late evening hours throughout much of last week and into this week. And so I want to make sure that we credit them for the work. They're missing time with their families and things like that in order to provide people vaccines. And so I just want to acknowledge those as well. I'll stop there, and I think we can take some questions.
Thank you. Dr. Bridgers, thanks for joining us. Anything to add?
Good morning, Council President Hucker and other members sitting as the Board of Health. Yes, I would. Dr. Gales and I had conversations late last night and this morning regarding our homebound vaccination program, and to include Dr. Stoddard as part of our vaccination planning leadership team. Just wanted to crosswalk everyone this morning regarding the status of our homebound vaccination program. And we understand that it's been somewhat slow. We started off with our Minority Health Initiative partners conducting a pilot for our homebound population of those who pre-registered. We had about a little over 1,300 pre-registrants. And since then, we've vaccinated about 2/3 of our homebound population, to include those who are caregivers. Just recently, we looked at our numbers, and we have about 397 homebound individuals and their caretakers who still need to be vaccinated. And so what we've done, as we've done throughout our testing and vaccination platform, we've used a process evaluation strategy where we've looked at our numbers and looked at our approaches and looked at the best way forward to increase our capacity to either test or vaccinate individuals. And so we are ramping up our vaccination program for our homebound population. We will be vaccinating effective today or this week those individuals, those remaining 397 individuals and their caregivers who are required vaccination. We use a priority framework to include those high priority zip codes and those priority census tracts, but we are now including those individuals who have been sitting in the queue and waiting for the past 30 to 45 days to get vaccinated. And so we are including those individuals in our scheduling strategy. We have targeted 120 individuals this week. And then next week, we should have about 177 individuals remaining, and we're going to identify those individuals. We're going to look at those local vaccination places where we haven't received higher numbers being 500 or more vaccinations per day. And we're going to divert clinical staff from those areas to go out and service teams that we've done before. Those strike teams that we've identified and used to test and vaccinate individuals in those assisted living facilities, nursing homes, and congregate living spaces. Now, keep in mind, we did have our ready responders who supported our efforts in the past along those lines. However, due to regulatory challenges, we were advised by the Office of the County Attorney that we could not use or include them in our vaccination scheme. Well, we've realigned those capabilities since they can be supervised at our clinical spaces, and we're going to backfill those individuals to augment the clinical staff who will be diverted as part of our ramp up to vaccinate all those individuals who continue to be homebound and haven't been vaccinated. Our plan is to target the end of the month, but realistically, it may not be until the week of June 5th going forward. And lastly, anyone who is listening this morning who still have not received the vaccination, our call center is still operational. They should contact 240-777-2982. Our call center staff will be following up with individuals who we've tried to reach repeatedly and who have not responded to our survey, and we will be contacting them to get them in the queue to be vaccinated. I'll stop there, subject to any questions the council board may have.
Thank you so much, Dr. Bridgers, and all of you. Let me just jump in with a couple of quick ones and then call on my colleagues. I didn't hear this addressed, and I haven't in a little while, so I just want to check in. It's on my mind. Where are we with our own employees being vaccinated, particularly our frontline employees? I was surprised last time I asked this how many hadn't been vaccinated, and I don't know how much that's operational difficulties and how much it's hesitancy. Can one of you answer where we are with our employees, particularly the frontline ones, and what we're doing to get to the rest?
So all the employees have been offered an opportunity to be vaccinated, actually multiple opportunities to be vaccinated, and we continue to encourage them to get vaccinated. We did not track it in all departments, mostly because by the point where most departments were eligible, there were so many other places you could get vaccine that we would have to essentially take the state list and reconcile it against the county employment list, which brought some significant HR and legal questions about how what we'd be doing as the employer of those individuals. I mean, looking at, for example, in our public safety network, we're over, I think, 71% of our law enforcement officers, 75% of our public safety, our fire rescue staff are vaccinated, which, if you look across the nation, is an order of magnitude higher than most places around the country. And so we continue to offer opportunities to our employees. Actually, we've got another, I think HR just sent out another reminder of the importance of getting vaccinated. And obviously we're working on some additional, reopening materials. And in those materials, we encourage people as part of those reopening activities to get vaccinated because, we will be returning more. I mean, telework will be part of our future for a whole host of reasons, for convenience, but also climate change and all those other things. But we do expect that we'll be back in the office more regularly moving forward. And so encourage people to be vaccinated who have thus far not.
Thank you. I'm glad to hear that about law enforcement and fire and rescue. Can you comment on where we are with librarians and ABS?
I don't know the percentage because obviously we knew that we saw many of them not come in, but we knew that many of them had gotten vaccinated through other means. So that's why we had a challenge knowing exactly what that percentage is. They've all been offered multiple opportunities, multiple clinics to come in and get vaccinated. So at this point, and obviously we're not going to change the way we decide to do our reopenings based on someone who refuses to be vaccinated. Right. That they can't use their refusal to be vaccinated as a means to justify their not coming back into the workplace for operational needs, like libraries, as you noted. And so obviously that's been, something that we've been working on with both the employee unions, but also just making sure that, we have a path forward for the employees, both for the public and for themselves, feeling comfortable back in the workplace. So.
Great. No, thank you. I appreciate that. And that this is all relatively recent given the arc of the whole pandemic. And so I'm asking, I'm glad they've been offered multiple opportunities. I appreciate they've been able to take advantage of opportunities to get vaccinated through other means than the county government. But you're also saying we don't know the floor for those other departments. We don't know how many have been vaccinated by the county government, knowing that it's higher than that?
No, we don't know exactly what for each department and whether it's department by variable. We're aware of employees who have just, in the office place said they weren't going to get vaccinated. So we do know that there's some employees who are refusing. We just don't know whether that's 20% or 30%. Sure. I think that's sort of where we're trying to figure out. I don't think there's any employee program, given the one place that you have seen across the country where you've seen more hesitancy than other places, particularly in the law enforcement sectors. I have no reason to believe that our other departments are going to be less willing to get vaccinated than our public safety partners were.
Right.
We have no reason to believe that from what we're seeing coming into our clinics and the behavior that we're seeing with employees in the workplace. So I would speculate it's between 70 and 80% almost across the board at this point for all, but I can't assert that with data that I can show you.
So why do we know it for public safety and fire and rescue and not?
Because we were the only people vaccinating at the time. They couldn't go to a pharmacy or some other places to get vaccinated. So we could track how many doses we gave out to employees in each department because we were the one-stop shop at that point, right? We were the public safety clinics. They couldn't go to a pharmacy or something to get vaccinated at the time that the public safety partners had been doing it. So
right. No, I'm glad to hear. I hope you're right that none of the other departments are lower than the 70%. But isn't it true that didn't we offer it to law enforcement and fire and rescue first? And so haven't they had more opportunities than the other departments at this point?
They had an earlier opportunity. They had a very specific, obviously they were going up to the academy at the time and being vaccinated. So yes, but obviously we've offered multiple opportunities that were employee-based clinic opportunities. Not to mention, I would argue that, they, at the time, public safety had a specific opportunity, but it was at one location in the county. Now they could go to any number of dozens of locations at this point. So it's probably more convenient at this point than it was then.
Okay. All right. I feel better about this. Thanks for all those answers. Obviously, it's great that we got to 60%. We expected to hit that milestone today, but we hit it yesterday, and we have a county full of overachievers. That's great news. We have more work to do ahead of us. But can you talk about when you anticipate getting to 65 or 70%? I realize the rate of increase will slow as we go higher.
Well, I think it's tough to call. I think that we will probably see a continued influx of folks coming in for that first dose, being the 12 to 15-year-olds. If you think back to that chart where we saw a plateau of the number as opposed to a dropping with them coming in. And again, just off of how many we've done just shy of 9,500 just for the county sites, not including what we had last night. That is approximately, we approximate we've got maybe 40 to 45,000 12 to 15-year-olds in the county. So we've still got a good percentage of those. I believe approximately 40 to 45,000.
40 to 45,000. Okay, thanks.
And so if we've done the county, we've done about 20 to 25% of those. So we still have a good amount of young people to come. And we speculate that we'll see again, probably at least another 20 to 25% of that population within the next week, which would allow us, I think, to climb, a little bit quicker to 65%. Now, I think after that is going to be tricky because again, we won't, I don't, as far as I know, a decision to vaccinate below 12 is not imminent for any of the vaccine candidates that are out there. And so we're going to go back to that issue of hoping to bring in more of those folks within that 17 to 35-year-old group that we've not seen a significant uptake in so far.
I will note that we have seen a bump in the other categories as we brought the 12 to 15-year-olds in, at least relative to previous weeks. Presumably those are parents coming in with the younger children who had not themselves been vaccinated and now are doing, we're getting the 2-for-1 deal on the vaccination, or older siblings or things like that. So obviously that's been a pleasant thing. We've also seen a bump, I believe, as we've offered more evening, different locations, things like that. So we had a much better week. Not even if you just exclude the 12 to 15-year-olds, we had a much better end of the week last week than you would have thought if you hadn't expanded to that category anyway.
Thank you. Yeah, it would be great, obviously, to get a majority of these residents vaccinated in that age group before the school year ends in a few weeks. Do you have any update on what's happening with MCPS and any notification of parents and pop-up clinics there?
So yes, we are doing a pop-up clinic at Argyle Middle School on tomorrow, where I believe we've got about 1,000 slots available. And we also are doing one with a non-public school on today, Stone Ridge School, where I believe we've got about 800 or so appointments available as well. And so we will see how those go and then be able to sketch out some further opportunities. Another thing, again, to emphasize is we're hopeful that private provider, that we'll see an uptick in private providers getting the vaccine as well, being an additional point of contact, an additional site that children can be able to access.
Terrific. Thanks. Councilmember Rice.
Well, thank you very much. So Dr. Gales, I'm a little bit concerned, and again, this has nothing to do with you or Dr. Stoddard or HHS in general, about the messaging that's out there and how confusing it is for constituents. And all of us have heard about it, because here's the challenge. So what we're saying is that we're moving forward with lifting some of our indoor requirements for folks, assuming that those folks that are in there would be vaccinated. However, we have hundreds of thousands of eligible residents that are not vaccinated. And so in theory, excuse me, you could have a large percentage of folks in a restaurant that were unvaccinated without the restrictions that we had in place months ago, before we had eligibility for vaccines. So nothing has changed in terms of the potential for what could be in those places, whether they're restaurants, whether they're businesses, whatever the case may be. So theoretically, in terms of who could actually be in those places, nothing has changed. And so you're changing the rules in terms of congregating and mask wearing, when in fact there's no guarantee that those folks would actually be vaccinated. So how do you explain that to individuals who are trying to understand why it was that we had those restrictions in place before versus why we don't have them now?
Thank you, Councilman Rice. That's an excellent question. It gets to the heart of, I think, the challenge with recommendations. So at the first point, and some of this is tricky to explain because everything you said is right. So the first point in all of this is that the CDC's recommendations apply to those who are fully vaccinated. Now, you're like, okay, that makes logical sense. So saying you don't need to wear a face covering if you're fully vaccinated, because if you're fully vaccinated, you're not likely to transmit it, you're not likely to get it, so forth, right? The challenge is, though, is how do you differentiate in a space between who's fully vaccinated versus who's not vaccinated? And that is the challenge. So on one end, I do acknowledge the idea if you are a fully vaccinated person, the data has shown that you're not going to transmit it to others and you can move about safely, even though we know that some folks still won't feel confident in doing that, and that will take some time. But you would be able to move about safely based upon the data that's been presented. But we don't have mechanisms, per se, in terms of how to differentiate between those who fit into those different categories. And so hence the recommendation that we put forward is that if you are vaccinated, you do have the option of being, without a face covering in different settings. But if you're unvaccinated, you're still required to do that. Again, recognizing that how to enforce that is still a gray area because we don't have a mechanism to go through and say, Councilmember Rice, are you vaccinated versus unvaccinated? Dr. Bridges, are you vaccinated versus unvaccinated? And it underscores why, at least from my perspective, we've again put forward guidance to say we still need to be respectful of the other public health guidance in terms of physical distancing and those kinds of things. And we can't throw out all of those practices, all at once and expect that everything will be okay and everything will be fine and we won't have to deal with this in the future. And so that is, I don't know if that answers your question. That's the best that I have with the data points that we have. And it is a tricky situation because there are the benefits of getting vaccinated. That's what we want people to get vaccinated, to protect themselves and protect their families. And it's this delicate balance of, yes, moving forward, we want to get more people covered so we can open things up more and return to some sense of normalcy, but not open up too fully and recklessly and too quickly to set ourselves up for, potential cases to happen as things open up more throughout the summer.
Go ahead, Dr. Simon. What we have done in the United States has not been risk elimination. We have not since the beginning of the pandemic, and candidly, I sort of wish we had done this in the beginning. We might not be suffering the way we are right now if we had taken it more seriously in the beginning and tried to, go with a no COVID strategy earlier, and we would not be where we're at. What we've been doing throughout the country has been largely risk mitigation. And so in light of the effectiveness of the vaccines, as Dr. Gales alluded to, and the fact that our community transmission rates are substantially lower than they have been at really any point since we've began testing. It gives us some confidence to think that we can take some, do some more broader reopening and following of the CDC guidance on masks, and not have the same degree of risks that would have existed had this been done last summer. That said, it is not without risk. Obviously, that is 100% true, and there are absolutely risks that we could see increases of cases, if not now, certainly again in the fall, and we may need to take additional actions again in the fall if that were to happen. I'm not trying to be doom and gloom about this. I think it's very likely that it won't happen, but it's not impossible, and I think we just need to be prepared for the possibility that we could see things get worse, and then we may have to talk about what actions would be necessary to control that getting worse. And so we're hoping not to go there. Other states, Texas removed its mask requirements months ago and did not see the spike. Does that mean it's going to happen the same way in Montgomery County? No, it does not. But obviously, we believe the risks are a bit lower now than they have been at any point during the pandemics, and so we can follow the CDC guidance and follow the vaccine guidance around how many people are protected, and feel we can move forward with this measure and then assess our success or failure.
So I wanted to highlight something that you said. Again, this isn't saying one way or the other in terms of where we go. I just want to make sure, because we're getting so many questions from our constituents, right? Both individuals, businesses, the like, who are very concerned about what it is that they need to do now, right? What the best advice for them to do now is in terms of how to move forward. And I'll just say that our numbers were low, and we touted that our numbers were low because we required masks, because we required social distancing, because we kept some things closed, and because we required limited capacity. So conversely, if we said that that's the reason why our numbers were low, if we take those things away, does that mean that our numbers still stay low? I don't know. I'm not a scientist. I'm not a doctor. I'm not an epidemiologist. I have no idea. And so that's why it's really hard for us to be able to try and make these kinds of decisions. But as a person who does understand science, I do know that when you take out some of the things that are automatically assumed as a part of your initial experiment, and those are constants, and you take those constants away, there's the opportunity for the result to certainly change. And the thing that would change is that the numbers stay low. And I don't know, there are other variables that are out there as well. Folks are vaccinated. And so that is a key component as another variable that's out there. But we still have, and so Dr. Stoddard, you did some quick math for me last week. What's our math in terms of the number of eligible people that are still unvaccinated?
Oh, it's likely probably about 225,000 eligible individuals who have not been vaccinated. We've only done about 25,000 at most since then, so it's probably maybe 230 even. Yeah, no, it's still it's a significant number of people.
So hundreds of thousands of people are still in Montgomery County. I'm not talking about in others. I mean, look, all we have to do is look to neighboring Prince George's, where I think that their numbers, and I don't want to badmouth Prince George's, but the numbers are the numbers, right? We're talking about borders. They're only at 30% of their eligible population fully vaccinated. 30%. And so those folks are coming here just like our folks are going there. And so, again, it's just one of those where I just say that because this is what I'm hearing from individuals, just as I'm hearing from individuals who are saying, let's move forward with opening. Let's go. Let's take off the masks. We're done with this. We've got folks vaccinated. I hear that side too. But that's why I'm just trying to get a better understanding of why it is and what justifications we have for us moving forward, understanding that there's still so many and still so many of the variables that are out there are still at play. So Dr. Gales, what would you say, A, to the business that wants to try and decide what they do regarding masks and social distancing? And then what do you say to the individual who is vaccinated about what it is that they should do to make sure that they are keeping themselves healthy and safe?
Well, and this is not a cop-out answer, but I think it really is up to the individual. And I think it's important to note, so thank you, Councilmember Rice, for laying out all of those different realities. Because we typically, as I think someone noted before, a lot of those who are most vocal are those who are against, what's happening. But then there are a lot of people who don't get their voices heard, who do, support what, the work that has been done before. And it is a delicate balance to make sure all of those interests are represented. And so I think the first thing it's important to emphasize for businesses as well as individuals, they still have the opportunity to put into policies that they feel will keep themselves as well as their clients safe. So if you are a business who still would like to emphasize physical distancing or face coverings within your space, you have the right and prerogative to do so, and you would be supported in doing that. Much like we talked about an individual who says, I'm fully vaccinated, but I'm still not ready to go out maskless, or I still don't feel comfortable doing that, whether it's in an outdoor and indoor space, you are supported in doing that as well. And I think it's important to, again, as we transition, you are right, none of this changed overnight. And even if we reopen or expand capacity from 100 to 250 in any particular space, that transition may happen from Monday to Tuesday, but the residual effect and impact on how we operate as individuals and businesses may not change instantaneously, and that will take some time, and there will be a transition period. Because you're right, we've not had this before, and we're still learning as we're moving forward and trying to put forward the best guidance as possible. So I say all that to say that, again, if you are businesses who still have concerns, you have the right and space to be able to continue to emphasize those public health practices such as physical distancing and requesting that your clients wear your face coverings when they go into stores, and individuals, the same principles. It's interesting. I as an individual am trying to figure that out too. So, I've been fully vaccinated since January technically, but maybe it's out of habit or not. I still put on my face covering when I leave the house. I'm out in common spaces. I do work out and try to stay fit. I'm still going to wear my face covering when I'm in a gym setting, particularly around other folks where ventilation may not be the greatest. And so I think it's to Dr. Stauder's point, I think it's an individual's risk assessment in that space, and individuals who still choose to do so should be supported, should not be shamed, or should not be stigmatized for choosing to do so.
I would echo Dr. Gales here. There are still some indoor environments where I, as a vaccinated person, will continue to wear a face covering, and I'll make those assessments based on how I view that individual situation. There are settings maybe where I'll take my face covering off at this point. I actually haven't, obviously this hasn't been policy yet, so I haven't been outside the house when the policy would be in effect in Montgomery County. And so, I'm sure there will be situations where I'll wear a mask. There may be situations where I don't, and depending on my individual comfort level, I think that's entirely appropriate. And so, yeah.
Okay. Well, thank you guys. And I really appreciate it. I think that, again, part of the challenge for individuals is that both of you as health experts in the field have a lot more to go off of, whereas you have individuals who've just been listening to guidance from folks who all of a sudden kind of feel as though they're kind of left to their own devices and just really aren't sure. And that's some of the unease that's out there. Folks just want to continue to have folks just give them the guidance in terms of, well, what's the best way for you to remain safe? Right? We've given them all this time, and now it's to them. Again, I'm just telling you what folks are saying. They feel as though they've kind of been abandoned by CDC, by local officials, as folks say, well, you can make your own decision now. Whereas before it was, well, in the best interest of you and your family, this is what you need to do. And so hopefully, we will see good things come about. We will continue on the direction that we have. I agree with you, Dr. Stauder. I hope that we won't see any of those increases, and don't think we will, as long as we continue to get folks vaccinated and continue to increase that. I just hope that by laxing some of these restrictions won't mean that folks think that they need to take their foot off the pedal when it comes to vaccinations and that this is done. We need to make sure that folks understand we still have hundreds of thousands of people who have not been vaccinated that are eligible. Please go get your vaccination so that we can continue on this pathway toward reopening and making sure that everybody's safe. So thank you. Thank you very much. Back to you, Mr. President.
Thank you, Councilmember. Councilmember Reamer.
Thank you. Thank you. Appreciate the dialogue. Apologies 1 second while I pull my thoughts together. So thank you, Dr. Gales, Dr. Stoddard, Dr. Bridgers, Dr. Kroll. I understand that ACIP has now approved distribution of doses to medical practices, and that our providers are basically waiting for the state to, make some kind of announcement. I was just interested whether you have considered, first of all, are we able to now get out all our doses? I'd be surprised if we are, just given the decline of interest, but maybe we are. But if we aren't, or even if we are, maybe, do you think it's a good idea to provide additional doses directly to providers, especially for medical practices that may have strong relationships in our immigrant communities and communities where there may be, a lower rate of vaccination? So any thoughts on that?
Thank you, Councilmember Reamer, for your question. Your questions, your set of questions. So a couple of things in response to that. I'm just looking at my notes here. So private providers have actually been eligible to receive vaccine for quite some time now. And that decision and determination is made at the state level. So in the early stages of the vaccine distribution process, private providers were not eligible to get vaccines. The vaccines were shipped to health departments and hospitals, and then pharmacies and so forth were brought on. Private providers were presented with the opportunity to register in the state system, the Immunet system, a couple of months ago. And there was a pilot where they started releasing doses to a limited number of providers. I believe that was about 6 to 8 weeks ago, and that has gradually expanded. And so about 3 weeks ago, recognizing that there would be further provisions that would allow for younger kids to get the vaccine, the Board of Physicians, I know the Board of Physicians that are coming from the state, I received the letter as a licensed provider, encouraged pediatricians in particular and other providers who had not registered in Immunet to register, because once you are registered in Immunet, you can get the vaccine shipped directly to your office. It doesn't have to come through the health department or a third party. You get that shipped directly to you. So there was an effort, and I know the Medical Society also promoted this, to get private providers to register in Immunet so that they could get the vaccine directly to be able to administer to any of our residents. Now, to the second, so that process has been in place for some time, and they're able to do that. And so in order for a provider to do it, they have to go in and register, and they get it directly. Now, the second part of the question in terms of where our dose allocation and allotment where we are, we actually have been putting out the doses that we've received. We've been getting at a fairly almost one-to-one rate, and in particular, given this influx of young people into the system, we've not had any issues with that. We have actually been partnering with some of the clinics, the types of clinics that you referenced in your question, who do have good footprints within those communities, based upon a racial and ethnic diversity as well as a geographic diversity. Just to name some of the clinics that we worked with for at least a couple of months now, some more than others: Care for Your Health, Mobile Med, Mary's Center, CCACC Clinic, the Pan Asian Clinic, Proyecto Salud. I'm sure I'm missing somebody, but these are just an example of the clinics that we have been working with, and we have been providing doses to directly, again, working with them to also get registered in the Immunet system so they would be able to receive doses directly themselves.
Okay, thank you. I guess my understanding is that those practices that have registered are still almost entirely awaiting shipment. So I'm happy to hear we're at a one-to-one. I wish the state were providing doses to the practices in a more significant way. seems like it's an important part of the puzzle. And if, I just put this out there, if at some point, if we think that by giving some of our allocation to them, that would deepen the effort, obviously we would want to consider that. I'm sure that's, something that you've thought of already. But I guess I've just been surprised that we aren't hearing about more individual medical providers, receiving their allocations and then providing doses directly to their patients. I had expected we'd be at that stage in this rollout at this point, and for whatever reason, it's not exactly clear to me. That's not where we're at yet. But having asked about that, thank you. I wanted to make a general comment about where we are in this rollout and in the pandemic generally. I think we're in a moment of great confusion about the efficacy of vaccines, the necessity of additional measures, who they protect, why, and I'm sure this will iron out, in the coming weeks. But I am certainly encountering a lot of individuals who aren't yet confident that being fully vaccinated is really a very, very powerful protection that virtually eliminates the risk of serious medical consequences. Does not eliminate the risk of transmission. There is a very slight risk of transmission, but there is very little risk of actual serious COVID, health impact once you've been fully vaccinated. And at this point, we have millions and millions of Americans who've been fully vaccinated, and I'm not hearing about cases of people who are being hospitalized, after they've been fully vaccinated. It's just exceedingly rare. So when you have been fully vaccinated, I think it just gradually, I think we'll all absorb this idea that masking is for those who are refusing to get vaccinated or are unable to get vaccinated, but you're safe around people regardless if you've been vaccinated. That's the safety protection. And I think it's important to gradually make this shift because I don't know, maybe there are those out there who view vaccinations as one of several things at their disposal that they might do, and either none of them they care about, they just don't care about this and they are one of these deniers, or they think that there's some kind of equivalency. And, well, I guess if I just wear a mask sometimes, that's just as good as anything else. And, the reality is that being vaccinated is a entirely different kind of protection. And it is a very, very powerful protection that is, at this point, virtually complete. And so you're safe around other people, even if they are unvaccinated. And that is something that I think is not yet in the public dialogue. And it will take some time, and that's okay. We're at a very transitional stage of all of this. But it's also why I think it is appropriate to begin to lift some of these restrictions and make it ever more clear to those who are not yet vaccinated that it's vaccination that's the solution. You've got to go get vaccinated. That's it. End of story. Go get vaccinated. That's how you'll be safe. And, I know that there are very few people who can't, but for the most part, those who are not either are refusing or just it hasn't been able to work into their life yet. And I'm glad we're doing more late hour clinic times. I think that's really important. I think we ought to even consider an overnight clinic. But I think of all the employees who are just in a routine with their company and that's their life, and they go to work, they go home, and they get back up the next morning and they do it again. And I suspect that we're having some issues, reaching them, and we ought to have more and more late night clinics. I wanted to thank you for your comments on the incentives. As I mentioned earlier, I have been working on an appropriation, and I'll have something soon, but I think that will be another important component of reaching those who are yet to get vaccinated And I think the evidence is rolling in that they are quite effective, and that there are those for whom they might be hesitant or just simply unmotivated, and an incentive will help them. So I wouldn't have thought that would be a good thing for us to do in the early stages with all the population that was highly motivated, but I think we've reached that pivot point. And thank you for your comments on the Homebound program. Again, if there's anything we can do to beef that up, more staff we can assign to that. I just think there are some, that group of people, they may not, it's not apparent to all of us, how staff is assigned and so on and so forth. And so it's just something that I think would be really appreciated if we can assign more staff into that. Last thing I want to just observe, I think in regard to the schools, I really think it is time to allow those kids who want to go full-time to be able to go. I know a lot of parents are not going to want to send their kids this spring. They're just not going to want to do it. And that's their prerogative. I don't think we would ever consider saying you must send your children in now if you're not comfortable with that. But so many kids are in these A-B shifts, and now we have vaccinations, we have very low transmission level. Why not allow those families that do want to take advantage of full-time school to be able to do that? And I know it's complicated. The school system has been kind of working at it, but I just think, speaking from personal experience, my oldest son, he's in the group B, and when he goes to school, there's only 3 other kids typically in his class, 3 or 4 other kids. I mean, can you imagine going to school with 3 or 4 other children in a room? And he says he doesn't even really get to interact with the teacher very much because the teacher's focused totally on the screen. And he's not motivated to want to return full time. He actually, of course, as a teenager, much happier at home. Wouldn't you be? I would. But, I think we are somehow, from a health perspective, there's no question that this can change. And so if there's anything that we could do to facilitate that, I just think it would be helpful. We are certainly where we had always dreamed and hoped we would be in terms of, having a clear path out of this. So again, for those who want it, it seems like we ought to be able to provide that. And I know I recognize I'm speaking more in a public sense here and less to anybody in particular. But thank you. Appreciate your presentations today, and look forward to continuing to work with you.
Thank you. Councilmember Katz.
Thank you very much, Mr. President. Could we get an understanding, please, of the population percentage of in Montgomery County of those younger than 12 years old? Do we know that, who are not eligible for the vaccine?
About 12 to 13% of the population.
About
roughly.
12 or 13%.
Yeah, we estimate about 83% is 16 or above, and then it was about 3 to 4% for those individuals 12 to 15, and so that leaves about 12, 13%.
So in order for us to get to, we're never going to get to 100% of the population. I mean, the most we can get of our population would be 87% is what you're saying. And then, of course, there's those in the 87% that refuse to take it. So, I mean, I think we're doing a pretty good job at this point to have the 60% where we are. I mean, I don't know how much more we're going to get. I mean, obviously the younger people getting involved is a big help, but I don't know how much more we're going to actually be able to get beyond where we are right now, is my point.
If we were a state, Montgomery County would be one among, I believe, the top 5 or so states in the country if we were our own state in terms of vaccination rate. A few states, I think Hawaii has done exceptionally well. They're one of the best in the country in terms of vaccination. If we were a state in and of ourselves, Montgomery County would rank quite highly among the states.
And of course, Montgomery County, I believe, is larger population-wise than 8 states in the United States. So that's a good way to look at it. The other thing that I think needs to be mentioned is I know anyone over the age of 2 is supposed to wear a mask. So anyone from the age of 2 to 12 right now would still be required to wear a mask. I believe I'm correct in saying that by our definition. Is that correct? Because they can't get the vaccination.
Yes.
And I heard on the news this morning, it was either this morning or yesterday, but I believe it was this morning, that a pediatrician, one of your colleagues, Dr. Gales, said that one of the concerns that they are talking about is that a child who's 10 years old or whatever, if they're supposed to wear a mask, they have to wear a mask, but the parent is not, and whether or not the parent would consider wearing the mask so that the child didn't feel like they were being, that they were having to do something that others didn't have to do. So it's something to keep in mind just for our children. And then and I know we're going to discuss this later, but for as an example, for the organization swimming and other sporting area organizations, when they received a waiver, when the new ordinances, when the new resolutions go into effect, those waivers are no longer necessary. Do we send out notice, or did they just realize that is what's going to have to take place, that they don't need to follow the waiver issuances?
We have not typically sent out a notice, but I actually think that's probably a fairly good idea as we go to different phases to let them know that there's been an update and their allowances may have expanded. I think I guess we'd let them know if we had to implement more restrictions in the future, which I, again, don't think we will have to, nor do I want us to.
But you have to put the asterisk on there.
Yeah, I'll put the asterisks on there. I think that's a worthwhile thing. We could notify our LOA recipients about and just say, hey, there was an update to the Board of Health Regulation. Here's what it said. This may expand the allowance of your LOA. Please, you have to look at your individual LOA to determine. I think that's probably a worthwhile thing for us to do.
Thank you. And there again, thank you all for all that you do. This has been, as all my colleagues and you all certainly know, and the public, this has been turmoil to turmoil to turmoil, but we are getting there. And it looks like we're finally going to be getting our public to the point where people will start to feel more and more comfortable. So anyhow, thank you all. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you, Councilmember Katz. Councilmember Navarro.
Thank you, Mr. President. And of course, much gratitude for all the collective effort. We have reached a very important milestone, and it just feels a little surreal since we're so used to always talking about just the challenges and the challenges. So it's kind of nice to be able to at least pause and be grateful for this milestone. A quick question regarding our targeted efforts within particular communities. Social media, there were some folks that had contacted me, and some people were making comments about these phases of reopening and relaxing all of these restrictions, but still, of course, communities that are still experiencing disproportionality within the vaccination process, particularly if this was directed at the Latino community. And of course, I responded with the efforts that are ongoing. But can you talk a little bit about now that we have reached this point, before we discuss this issue of we would hit a particular place where there would be hesitancy, or we would just have to start going very, very deep into the community to reach out for those folks and get them vaccinated, those who perhaps just had not had the chance, maybe did not have access to go to the sites. We needed to get to them. How are we doing in terms of that rollout of that much more targeted effort? And just in general, any updates on additional things that we are doing?
Thank you, Councilmember Navarro, for your observations and comments and your question. So to your question, we're continuing to leverage one of the earlier questions, leverage the network of community clinics who are a little bit more flexible in terms of being able to operate within those spaces, specifically within different communities. And so that's nothing new from what we've been doing before. The network of those opportunities has expanded in terms of the providers that we are providing doses to, and the types of clinical opportunities that they are utilizing are different. So, their levels of operation are able to stand up, clinics within their spaces, going out to community spaces in terms of at residences and so forth, to do that where they know there's high traffic for folks to be able to get through there. We are bringing on 2 additional partners. One was brought on, I think, in the past week to support them, and strategically in the East County area, that's approximate to a host of those zip codes that, if you think back to the priority map, kind of half or Central County, half or Down County, to help with increased penetration within that network, as well as bringing on some additional groups to alleviate some of the pressure on the county system as we consolidate some of the larger operations and try to do some of the more focused stuff. So what we're trying to do is to, again, continue to support that network of clinics who already have that footprint within the county, and then also be able to consolidate some of our larger operations, as Dr. Bridges pointed out. So that would allow for some of the staff to be able to go out and buffer the homebound population, and to also do some more of those take a surgical knife approach to, again, some of those zip codes that we're trying to also study to understand what the phenomena are that are driving those gaps of lower percentages of uptake.
Thank you for that. Coincidentally, this afternoon, we're going to receive a presentation from Park and Planning on the demographic changes of Montgomery County. And it's a presentation that I requested because I think it is very instructive for us to continually understand, our population and concentrations also of particular populations. And I know you've used that data to target a lot of this work, and it has shown results. So, I feel very optimistic that, the issue of disproportionality, which we started to address last year when we started getting the data and we understood, we were ready for that. I think that we are going to be able to address that, and I think it's just super important, obviously, especially at this point of the game, that anyone that is out there that has good ideas or is putting forth a very proactive, targeted type of initiative of any sort or effort, that obviously we want to hear about it, we want to engage. I think we've done a pretty decent job engaging everyone who's already been a partner and has worked there for a long time. And I know we've said this time and time again, we in many ways were fortunate that we had capacity already that we had built throughout the years that we could tap into very quickly and activate very quickly. But obviously we always welcome additional support that we can leverage and put out there. So again, thank you all for everything.
Thank you. Colleagues, any other requests to speak? Any questions? Okay. If not, thanks for this great briefing, especially for all the good news incorporated in it. And we're not used to that, but we're getting used to it very quickly. So now we can move on to the formal introduction of the amended Board of Health regulation. On April 27th, we added phases for reopening the county based on the percentage of county population receiving a first COVID-19 vaccination. Today, we'll update the guidance around mask requirements in indoor and outdoor settings based on CDC recommendations. Let me recognize first the Council Vice President, Gabe Albornoz, and Council Vice President, let me thank you for all your hard work on this.
Thank you, Mr. Council President. I wanted to provide some context and some reflections before we take up what will hopefully be among the last public health orders that we have to administer, because if things continue to go well, if we don't take steps backward, then what we've had to do over this last year will hopefully be coming to an end after May 28th and we connect to the state guidance. But It's important before we take up this order to just think back over this last year. As I'm sure all of you and every member of our community have been thinking a lot and have had so many different reflections. But when you consider what's transpired over the last 16 months, the tragedy, the disorientation, the frustration, the dysfunction at the federal level, especially early on, with the lack of guidance, the lack of clear direction, states and counties having on their own, basically, having to figure out how to administer policies, how to follow guidance that on a good day wasn't particularly clear. And we've adjusted all the way through. We've heard immense frustration from businesses, from residents, from constituents over decisions that our county executive previously, and then we sitting as the Board of the Health most recently, have made in order to be cautious and deliberate in our approach in ensuring the health and safety and public health and safety and wellness of all of our residents. None of the decisions that we have made have been taken lightly. There have been hundreds of meetings, thousands of hours spent evaluating the data, looking at what the best practices are, comparing notes with local jurisdictions, and countless meetings with those local jurisdictions as well as our public health officials. And I have to say, I am extraordinarily proud of what has transpired this last year. Despite the immense tragedy of losing 1,500 of our county residents, despite milestones being missed and challenges with regards to public and mental health that are just now coming into focus, I think it's truly remarkable the steps that we've been able to take, in large part because of the direction of public health officials such as Dr. Gales, Dr. Stoddard, Dr. Bridgers, Dr. Kroll, and public health officials from across the country who have been harassed, who have been threatened, who have been belittled in many ways, even at the national level, because of decisions that have had to be made to keep all of us safe. None of this has been easy. And we know that the impact on all of our residents has been profound. Economically, we know there are businesses that were not able to make it through this pandemic. And of course, our children were out of school for an entire year. Grandparents now are just meeting grandkids for the first time. My grandmother, as I shared from the dais, passed away in the midst of the pandemic, and we weren't able to grieve as a family in the way that we should have and needed to during that time. This is just a microcosm of what people have felt. But because of the actions of this body, we have been able to stay ahead of the curve. Our hospitals never achieved full capacity in the way many other jurisdictions did across the country. And as Dr. Gales noted recently, if we had followed the state's order on March 8th and continued on the path of the state, we would have seen more than 200 cases per day. We would have doubled the number of deaths that we likely would have had we not taken the precautious steps that we had taken at the time to be more cautious and deliberate in our approach to reopen. And it's also important to note that the level of success that we've had in the administration of the vaccination has also been profound. As Dr. Stoddard mentioned during his comments, we would be among the best states in the country and have consistently been among the best jurisdictions in the state. And the state has outpaced the rest of the country in terms of our vaccination rates. And it was extraordinarily wise 2 months ago to tie our reopening specifically to vaccination rates. And so today didn't just happen. It wasn't an accident. It was the culmination of hours and hours of time spent trying to figure all of this out. And so I just want to say how proud I am to have stood with all of you, how proud I am of our residents and our community members, especially those that have stepped forward to help our neighbors in need, our central office staff. We still have a ways to go. I want to make clear, we are not at the finish line. There's still 10 more days before we achieve the milestone of 50% fully vaccinated in Montgomery County. And as been noted by my colleagues, there are still hundreds of thousands of residents that have yet to receive the vaccination for a variety of reasons. We will continue to aggressively pursue the strategies that we've utilized to get to those people. We urge our families that have received the vaccination. Everybody in your family has somebody who's skeptical, has somebody who's concerned, somebody who's holding back for personal reasons or whatever reason. We got to get to those folks. Our county's not going to be able to do that by itself. We've got to do that together. I have members of my own family that are still reluctant to receive the vaccination. I'm working on them. I'm going to continue working on them. And I know all of you are as well. The last two things I'll say before turning it back over to you, Mr. Council President, and then Mr. Drummer to explain the order that we are about to vote on, is that I'm also extraordinarily proud of the intentional approach that we've taken to address our more vulnerable populations, the disproportionate number of people in zip codes, mostly communities of color, as well as members of our disability community and other communities that have really been challenged in ways that should have been predictable, but were nonetheless tragic and frustrating and infuriating. I'll note that there are going to be hundreds of books written about what's transpired this last year. And there are a ton of lessons learned that I know all of my colleagues are 1,000% committed to making sure we apply moving forward, to learn from our mistakes, to address the public health disparities that existed prior to this pandemic. And even now, continue, although at a smaller rate as compared to the rest of the country, there's still a disparity in the level of vaccinations. We have work to do. We are committed to doing that work. But today is a day for us to acknowledge and reflect on what's happened over this last year, not forget the lessons learned, not forget the members of our community that we've lost, but also embrace what we've been able to achieve and what we will be able to achieve moving forward. So the last thing I'll say is and just to provide some context, there are some last minute amendments that are going to be proposed by some of my colleagues, which have been happening and transpiring since the adjustments that were made. I'll just note for context that the amendments that will be proposed are just to clarify some language to align with the phase 2 that we're in now, to make it more clear for our residents and businesses and public to understand what we're doing this afternoon. So, what we have before you today has been very well thought out, and there's been a lot of meetings and discussions to ensure that it's as clean as it can be. So thank you all to my colleagues for your continued leadership, and I look forward to voting on this resolution with the amendments, and more importantly than that, look forward to the work continuing after today. Thank you. Mr. Council President, I yield back to you.
Thank you. Councilmember Reamer.
Great comments, Council Member and Council Vice President Albornoz. Really appreciate your steady hand through this crisis, and you've done a marvelous job throughout the year, and we're really grateful. I just wanted to amplify a comment that you made, that our path towards lifting restrictions should by no means be interpreted as our public health campaign is winding up. Far from it. In many ways, the hardest part is still ahead of us, and that is extending our vaccination campaign to those thousands of people who have not yet come in. And that's going to be hard work, and that is going to continue. The point, I think, is that the vaccinations are highly effective, and now that we have a fully effective tool at our disposal, it's time to shift the public to focus on that and to rely upon it. And so it will be a phasing in, I think, psychologically for a lot of our community members, but that's where we're at. Thank goodness. It has been a miracle of science. When we started this, we were told vaccinations could take 4 or 5 years, that no vaccination had ever been approved for humans faster than 5 years. That's what we were told a year ago. And yet here we are in the middle of May. More than half of our population has already been fully vaccinated, or close to. It is an absolute miracle, and we need to double down on that and continue to build it out. So I'm pleased by this measure we're going to be adopting today. Thank you.
Thank you. Let me now turn to Senior Legislative Attorney Bob Drummer to explain the proposed regulation.
Good morning. I believe it's still morning. Back on April 27th, the Board of Health adopted its fifth amended Board of Health regulation, which created a reopening based on the percentage of the county population that received vaccinations against COVID-19. The first phase was 50% of the population receiving at least one dose. The second phase was 60% of the population receiving at least one dose. And the third phase is 50% of the population, and that's the entire county population, being fully vaccinated with all required doses and 2 weeks out after those required doses. So you're fully, that's our definition of fully vaccinated. When we first started to draft the Sixth amended Board of Health regulation that's in front of you today, we had hit the phase, we had hit phase one, so we were at 50% of the population. Between the time we drafted it just a couple days ago and today, we've now reached phase two, which is 60% of the population. So we redrafted the Sixth amended regulation again to recognize that. And now once you've hit, and then we've also hit, well, we haven't hit phase three. We know exactly when phase three will begin because we know when we reached 50% of the population having received either their Johnson & Johnson dose or their second dose of Pfizer or Moderna. So we can count out 2 weeks from that and we get to May 28th. So what this Sixth Amended Board of Health regulation does recognize that we've hit the second phase of 60% of the population receiving at least one dose of the vaccine, and it modifies the face covering requirements that were discussed this morning that, based on the recently revised CDC and MDH guidance. The regulation would incorporate the changes that automatically happened when the county reached the second reopening phase into the body of the regulation. It would eliminate the description of the first and second reopening phases because we've already hit there. It removes capacity restrictions on outdoor gatherings and raises the capacity restrictions on indoor gatherings to 250 people. It removes the requirement to wear a face covering when outdoors, pursuant to the recent CDC and Maryland Department of Health guidance. And then it makes a distinction that persons who are fully vaccinated would not need to wear a face covering while indoors, but persons who are not fully vaccinated, except as required by Maryland Department of Health, there are requirements for indoor face coverings, even if you're fully vaccinated, for schools, public transportation, and there are a couple other reasons that escape me at the moment. But in fact, if you're not fully vaccinated, you must continue to wear a face covering while indoors in a public area. The regulation would also align the requirements for summer camps with the state's requirements, take off the county requirements and follow the state. And it also includes an automatic termination clause that the Board of Health regulation, the County Board of Health regulation, would be rescinded automatically on May 28th, 2021, when 50% of the county population would become fully vaccinated. That would be the regulation. You've got here a public hearing scheduled and then action after the public hearing. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Drummer. I don't see any other comments on the regulation itself, the resolution itself. Let me call on Councilmember Friedson.
Thank you, Council President. First of all, thank you to Bob and Sylvia and the entire public health team, Dr. Gales, Dr. Stoddard, Dr. Kroll. Thank you to the Council President and Vice President and the entire team. It's not easy. We are a legislative branch that's not really designed to move in real time and to adjust policy that is a moving target. That's not what we're designed to do. We're supposed to make policies that sustain long term, and we've adjusted and adapted, and it hasn't always been perfect, and we haven't always we've had to adapt along the way, but I really do think we have stepped up here. I'm proud of colleagues and really appreciate everybody's help and everybody's hard work and where we have gotten. I do have a few clarifying consensus amendments, all of which have been vetted by the health team and are supported. I'm going to move them as a block. I'll quickly explain them. 3 of them have been sent around. One of them is just sorry.
Say you need to do the public hearing first.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah, fair enough.
Oh, apologize. I thought we were moving the amendment. I forgot about the public hearing. Apologize.
Right. That's why we have
good. I'll yield back to you, Mr. President, and look forward to the public hearing.
Okay. If we're all set, and we should be, Ms. Kennedy, do you mind calling the first speaker for the public hearing?
Good morning. Yes, we have one speaker for this public hearing, and that will be Matthew Libber. Mr. Libber, you have 2 minutes for your testimony, and you may begin when you're ready.
President Hucker, members of the council, members of the health team, normally I'm here to ask you to modify the health order. I'm very happy for the first time to say thank you for doing what you have done, and thank you for expediting some of the changes before we hit to the May 28th date. Thank you for all the hard work you've done. I very much appreciate these changes and look forward to you approving this. And again, just want to say thank you that allows us to get back to where we need to be and get kids on the field playing sports again safely. And we will not take these changes lightly. We still will make sure we're providing a safe and healthy environment for these players moving forward, along with their families and the people that are coming into the county. And we will do you proud. So thank you, and please approve this order.
Thank you, Mr. Libber. Mr. President, I yield back to you. That's all we have.
Thank you, Mr. Libber. Nice to have you on the favorable side. Okay, the public hearing is now closed. Councilmember Novato.
Thank you, Mr. President, and thank you, Mr. Lieber. I hope that this is a reflection of others who've come to testify in front of us, because it has taken a lot of patience and a lot of cooperation from our residents. And so I didn't want to let this moment go by without acknowledging the extraordinary milestone. To thank Councilor Vice President Albornoz for having joined the council, hit the ground running as chair of the HHS committee, and then had to encounter such an extraordinary responsibility. And he has led us in a extraordinarily efficient and forward-thinking way. And I know it's not been an easy thing for you and your staff. So I do want to acknowledge that I know I slept a little bit better every night, knowing that you were always on it and always letting us know as things were emerging. To, of course, our health officials, the ones that advised us, and that sometimes, we didn't completely agree, but they still continued to tell us why. Why did we need to follow the science at a moment when it was just so extraordinarily frustrating, because what we were getting from our national leaders was something completely different. And to have to acknowledge that we were going to need to create our own path forward, always with the best interest of our residents in mind, at times felt like an awesome responsibility. But everybody stepped up. The leadership of our health officers, the leadership of the Department of Health and Human Services, our central office staff, the administration staff, and each and every one of you, because this really, I hope one day will be studied in terms of how this particular council everybody brought in their area of expertise and was willing to lead. And we were all willing to make sure that we could cooperate, knowing that each council member did have a particular niche area that was so useful. And that collective effort in making sure that we would hear from our residents, all residents, and then put forth whatever area of expertise we may have had to lead in a particular way, that was very seamless and quite remarkable. And so I do want to say thank you. I want to acknowledge that this is a very important moment. You know, taking my council member hat off and just, you know, as a mother and as a resident of this county, I'm just very grateful to what we have all been able to accomplish collectively and how our residents absolutely stepped up. And I do recall, you know, one time just kind of driving through the county and seeing everybody wearing masks, everyone, you know, people who were getting off the bus, people who were walking around, people who were, every single person was doing that. And when you contrast that to what was happening in other jurisdictions, it just, again, made me feel so, so proud of living in this county and being part of this county. So to Councilmember Katz, who led it through the thick and thin of this pandemic as council president, to you, Councilmember Hooker, and to, again, all of my colleagues and everyone involved, thank you. This is not over, absolutely not. Now we begin another dance in figuring out how this is all going to go, and we will continue to track everything. But boy, was it so much better that we were proactive in so many ways and didn't get to see the worst of the worst that we were all bracing ourselves for, like, you know, lack of hospital beds, or, you know, just rampant, you know, death tolls and things like that. But again, even though we did accomplish that, we're still going to work to make sure that this is a thing of the past. But thank you for your patience. Thank you for believing, and thank you for having a fighting spirit and optimistic spirit. And to all those who lost loved ones, you know, my deepest condolences, because for many, this Mother's Day was a very sad Mother's Day. And there will be a lot of other very sad milestones. And so it is bittersweet in some ways that we are marking an important moment, but also recognizing that just so much unnecessary loss took place. And so with that, Mr. Council President, I turn it over to you.
Thank you, Councilmember. Yes, I would be remiss not to thank Councilmember Katz for all his hard work without an operating manual during his presidency during the darkest times of this. And you, former Council President Navarre, for helping us lay the groundwork pre-COVID to commit to and communicate with, as we discussed yesterday, all of our residents, not just some of them, because that undoubtedly saved lives this year as well. So, Councilmember Glass.
Thank you very much, Mr. President. Yeah. At the beginning of the pandemic, we all said that we were in this together. And that is how we all operated and worked to ensure the health and safety of all of our residents. And now that we're a little more than a year since the pandemic started, we're about to put it behind us, and we're putting it behind us together, recognizing that 60% of our residents have received their first dose, and almost 50% will be fully vaccinated in the days and week to come. And while that is certainly a milestone, it in no way is a stop to the work that we have to do here in county government, because our work continues, recognizing that while the health impacts might be behind us or very close to us in the rearview mirror, a lot of the economic impacts have not subsided. And I know that all of us will redouble our efforts to make sure that the financial security of our residents continues to be met here. And thankfully, with the federal government and the state government providing us with tremendous resources, we will continue that work. But, you know, here within the council, I too just want to express my deep appreciation for everybody's work and leadership to make sure that we got through this together. And of course, express my appreciation for the executive team and all the doctors who have aided in this work and everybody else who are part of their teams, because again, that is the togetherness that we have exemplified and that has gotten us through this. And I look forward to seeing all of you in person in due time, and look forward to seeing all of our residents healthy and safe as we return to some semblance of normal. But again, as we figure all of this out, we will be doing it together as we have been and as we will continue to do. So thank you to all of my colleagues. Thank you to everybody in county government. And thank you to the residents of Montgomery County for being alongside of us as we walked through this pandemic, trying to chart uncharted territory. But here we are today. So thank you all. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you, Councilmember Glass. Okay, if there are no more comments on the resolution as proposed, we have some amendments to the resolution. Councilmember Friedson.
I was noting how it's not a perfect process and proceeded to imperfect the process by going a little bit early. So I just wanted to lead by example there, and I appreciate everyone's indulgence for my own mistakes. So just reiterating my appreciation for Bob Drummer and Sylvia Kinch in particular, who have drafted the amended Board of Health regulation and also worked on these amendments, and then Dr. Gail Stoddard and Kroll, Council President and Vice President, for all of the work. I know it's fast moving. We didn't get the Board of Health regulation update until late yesterday, and so I've been working on it. But these are consensus clarifying amendments, as I noted before, all of which have been vetted by the health team. They reflect the phase that we're in and the attention that we have and the changes that we are making, so that's consistent throughout the order with where we are. 3 of them written out have been sent to colleagues earlier by Mr. Drummer. Those are in the body, in the action portion. There's an additional one, which is just part of the background, just updating to reference the latest numbers. I'm going to propose those as a block. I'll explain them quickly, and then if it's okay with the Council President, I have a few other clarifying questions and comments. I'd like to circle back on those, but wanted to put these forward first as a block, if that's okay. The first amendment was listed in your emails, Friedson Amendment 1. It relates to sports. It clarifies that sports are subject to the gathering limits in paragraph 5 and the face covering requirements in paragraph 2. It really just removes some of the confusion related to what the current rules are for sports, and make sure that they are following the order as is intention, or the health regulation, excuse me, as is intended. The second amendment is listed to colleagues as Friedson Amendment 2. It relates to fitness centers. This is just a clarification. It eliminates the reference currently to the Maryland Sports Commission return to play report. That's no longer in effect. It can't be referenced because the state has said it shouldn't be used any longer. And so it removes that reference, which dates back to previous orders, and replaces it with the same reference to paragraph 5 for gatherings and paragraph 2 for face coverings, to be consistent with the rest of the health regulation. The third amendment, it's listed for colleagues as Friedson Amendment 3. This relates to contact tracing. It clarifies the requirement for contact tracing for food service establishment. It's based on where our numbers are and the confirmation by Dr. Gales that he is comfortable moving forward, and our health team expects to go through the state and county health department's protocol on a case-by-case basis in the event of an outbreak. And so it removes that requirement currently listed for food service establishments. And then Amendment 4, this was not sent around. It is really just an update to where the numbers are, but in the background section under number 7, the number wasn't updated to reflect the fact that we've surpassed 60%. That would change to, as of May 17th, more than 60% of the population of Montgomery County have received at least one dose of the vaccination against COVID-19. Currently, it's listed as 54%. It was just at the time that this was originally beginning to be drafted, that was the number of Maryland in-state referenced on the website. And then in number 8 in the background section, just an update to the current number of deaths. Tragically, it's at 1490, not 1483 as it was last week. And so the current number of deaths would change to 1490. I think it's important that we reflect every lost soul that we have in Montgomery County, unfortunately. With that, I wanted to move those 4 amendments as a block, and appreciate the hard work and consensus of the health team and consideration of colleagues.
Second, and then a comment.
Council Vice President Albornoz seconds. Council Vice President Albornoz.
Thank you. Thank you, Councilmember Friedson. And I'll just note for my colleagues, as has been the case with the governor making his announcement on Friday at 5 o'clock, that triggered, a series of meetings to get us to this point. And then obviously, as has always been the case, we compare notes with neighboring jurisdictions. And so there's a lot of moving parts that go into these public health orders and a lot of heavy lifting, particularly from our legal team. And so early this morning and in real time, the amendments that Councilmember Friedson has proposed confirm or are kept in the spirit of what we initially drafted and is before you. It's clarifying language, which everyone on the team has agreed makes sense. But I just want to acknowledge that and thank him for proposing these amendments, and especially thank the team for quickly turning around and confirming that these are in the spirit of what's before us. So that's it. So I'll yield back to you, Mr. President.
Thank you. Yes, I agree with characterization as administrative and clarifying. I'm grateful to you, Council Vice President and Councilmember Friedson, for cleaning this all up and for your hard work on this. Councilmember Rice has a question on one of the amendments.
Yeah, thank you very much. So many of you know I spend a lot of time in the gym. I'm trying to understand what this relates to fitness centers and what we're saying, because I saw something in there, but I just didn't understand. I tried to follow it based on the language, but I just have no idea. So somebody could just let me know what it means for fitness centers.
Yeah, I'm happy to explain. I don't know if there's anybody from the health team, but essentially there's a reference there that is just an outdated reference to the return to play risk categories for sports. Those are no longer in effect, so there's no way that a health center would know what to reference or where that comes from. And so essentially it's a distinction without a difference to just eliminate the confusion, frankly, of how the health department was intending to carry this out. There was some confusion, some questions received on what that means, and the answer was there's nothing to reference there, and then it just explicitly for clarity purposes explains that you have to follow the gathering limits in paragraph 5 and the face mask face covering requirements in paragraph 2. So it doesn't really make a practical change, but it does clarify to make it clearer to understand. But I see Dr. Stoddard has hopped on, and so I'll yield to him.
Yeah, Councilmember Friedson is correct. Councilmember Rice. Essentially, previously, under the previous iterations, particularly back when it was actually executive order, so this language has survived since then. If you did a high-risk sport inside of a gym, for example, basketball courts inside of a gym, the fitness centers would be governed by the fitness center allowances, but if you were playing a basketball game, you'd have to follow the high-risk requirements. Because those high-risk sport requirements have been eliminated at the state level and we have no longer utilized them, it's really just a legacy of that requirement, and therefore we're just getting rid of it to make a better reference.
Makes perfect sense. Thank you.
That was a better response, so you should have hopped on sooner, Dr. Stoddard. That's why we yielded to the experts to help us with all of this.
Right. Okay. See no other requests to speak. We can take, Mr. Drummer, a hand vote on the amendment, correct?
Yes.
All those in favor of the amendment on block, please raise your hand. Great. Now we need a roll call vote, Madam Clerk, on the resolution as amended. Oh, Councilmember Friedson, I beg your pardon, you had comment.
Yeah, no problem. So one additional comment, this didn't require an amendment. There have been some questions on it in terms of what is expected of a food service establishment in terms of the mask guidelines. There is a reference in lines 123 to 125 or paragraph 6, part A, number 4, that states that restaurants must require face coverings as required by paragraph 2. That only requires face coverings for unvaccinated people indoors. And so I just wanted to clarify, and this has been confirmed by the health team, in order to satisfy that requirement for food service establishments, having a sign that indicates what the rules are based on the CDC guidelines that we're now following for face coverings would satisfy that requirement. So I just wanted to reference that here. There's no amendment that's needed, but I think it's important to understand what that means. I know all of our residents, all of our businesses are trying to catch up like we are in real time to the changes at the CDC and the state level and what we're doing here. And so I just thought that was important to note. With that's all I have. I yield back to you and look forward to taking them.
Okay, we have a amended resolution before us. Madam Clerk, can you please call the roll?
Mr. Glass?
Yes.
Mr. Glass votes yes. Mr. Giolando?
Yes.
Mr. Giolando votes yes. Mr. Reamer?
Yes.
Mr. Reamer votes yes. Ms. Navarro?
Yes, and C.
Navarro votes yes. Mr. Katz?
Yes.
Mr. Katz votes yes. Mr. Rice?
Yes.
Mr. Rice votes yes. Mr. Friedson?
Yes.
Mr. Friedson votes yes. Mr. Albornoz?
Yes.
Mr. Albornoz votes yes. And Mr. Hucker?
Yes.
Mr. Hucker votes yes.
Okay, congratulations, everybody, and thanks for all your contributions. We have an amended Board of Health regulation to prevent the spread of COVID-19 in the county. Next, we have an announcement. There will be an additional public hearing on the Thrive Montgomery 2015 Planning Board draft, which is scheduled for June 29th, 2021 at 7 p.m. And now we can sit as the District Council. We have an action before us to confirm Ms. Tina Patterson, whose term expires on June 14th. Ms. Patterson, are you with us? Looks like it. Welcome back.
I'm here. Good morning.
Welcome back, Ms. Patterson. As I mentioned last week, I'm so relieved you're willing to serve another term. Your background and values and service on the Human Rights Commission and your professional training and dispute resolution will continue to be a powerful asset on the Planning Board. You've been an actively engaged member. You've asked many thoughtful questions and been very considerate of what other points of view, and you've used your extensive background to take all those factors into consideration before making decisions. And I particularly appreciate your commitment to affordable, attainable housing and your access to reliable transportation, not just for some of our residents, but for all of our residents. You've made a big difference. We're all very grateful for your contribution, and we look forward to having your leadership back on the board for another 4 years. Is there a motion to approve the resolution?
So moved.
Second.
Second.
Councilmember Rice moves and council members Katz and Navarro second, as far as I know. Madam Clerk, can you please call the roll?
Yeah.
I don't want to get in trouble.
Yeah.
Madam Clerk, can you please call the roll?
This is a hand vote, Mr. President.
Oh, beg your pardon. I wonder why it says that. Please, all those in favor of reappointing Ms. Patterson to the Planning Board, please raise your hand. Thank you so much. Ms. Patterson, that is unanimous. Congratulations.
Thank you very much, council members. I look forward to serving the county for another 4 years. It's a pleasure to see you again, and thank you for
another
the
4
work.
years. Okay, with us. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Now we can take up the consent calendar. Is there a motion to approve the consent calendar?
So moved.
Second.
Councilmember Jawanda moves. Councilmember Rice seconds the consent calendar. All those in favor? Please raise your hand. We have an approved consent calendar. Terrific. And now I believe we can take recess till 1:30 p.m. Good work, everybody.